Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Lonely Drivers Driving Club. We have a guest. Second appearance. Yeah, second appearance. Danny Friend, what's up, homie?
Howdy, fellas. Same old, just growing up stuff. Had another baby.
Oof. That's a big milestone, bro.
Yeah, it is. It's, another one, but...
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Oh, cheers.
How long ago was this? Like recent?
Yeah, what day is it today? Friday?
Thursday.
I love it when people are just like, what day is it? Friday? If only it was a Friday.
It was like 2 or 3 days ago, but I've lost track of...
Holy shit.
Yeah. Okay,
real recent.
That is like fresh out the oven.
Yeah.
Boy, girl?
Another girl, yeah. So 2 girls
girl.
now. Yep.
2 little princesses.
Yeah.
Everything go all good?
Yeah. It was obviously a hard one, like long birth for the missus, but it ended up all going good. It was just, long time. I think it was like... She was in there for 3 days, but it was
Fuck.
The actual, what's it called? Bloody
labour.
Yeah, the actual labour I think was 18 hours or something, which is still heaps.
That's still long as, man.
Yeah.
I felt sorry for her. Like, there's not much you can do. You just kind of
you're along for the ride.
You're just like, well, I'm going to go get some pizza.
Yeah. This couch is pretty uncomfortable, eh?
I'm going to put the F1 on, Silverstone's on.
Yeah. I was like, when Shauna went into labour, because we were planning on having a home birth. So she went into labour while I was sleeping and she just let me sleep. I woke up, she's like, I've been in fucking labour all night. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, radio. What do you want to do? She's like, doing her own thing. I was like, well, I'm going to watch Lord of the Rings. So I watched Lord of the Rings 1 and 2, and then she was just like vomiting and shit like that, and had to go into hospital. And I was like, fuck, man.
Such an inconvenience.
I know. I was like, I wanted to watch number 3. Like, I was so keen to watch number 3. And then, we ended up spending, I think it was fucking 18 or 12. It was stupid amounts of time waiting for a room.
Yeah.
For a birthing suite.
Oh, because you obviously didn't plan on,
Yeah. So then we went to King Eddie's and it was just I think she was in labour for 30 plus hours, bro.
Yeah.
It was fucking... And then it was emergency C-section, and then that didn't go through, and then I'm sitting there frozen, bro, talking to doctors, arguing with them,
Because that's what I was saying. Before it all kind of happened, I'm like, I don't know if... I felt like, not freak out, but I just hate it when there's nothing I can do. And it's like, what do you want me to do? Panic heaps? There's nothing you can do. You're just kind of standing there watching it all. And you're like, I want to help, but you can't. You're just stuck there and kind of try not to get in the way.
Pretty much. You're just sitting there there is nothing I can do.
Yeah. And it's it's hard for me. I'm a rip the Band-Aid off person. I'm get in there, get it done. But
fucking rip it out, bro.
Yeah. Give it here. No. But in situations like that, I'm just I don't know what to do. I just try not to overthink, I guess.
Yeah. It's not pleasant. I don't want to... I didn't even... As a man, bro, I don't have to worry about this shit, but I'm I don't want to fucking go through that again.
Yeah.
And I'm I didn't have to push a fucking baby out of me. And
Yeah.
Nah, not for me.
No, at the start, I was saying to the nurses, I don't know if, I'm okay with it, but at the same time, I don't know how stressed I was going to get. I'm so don't, I was pretty much I'm going to go for a little bit and swap with Emily's mum because she's over at the moment. I'm pretty sure she'd prefer her here anyway. And I was they were worried about me missing the birth. And I'm look, I've already kind of decided that if I'm here, yeah, great. And I want to be here, but if I miss it, I've already accepted that, it's it's okay. I'm not, I feel like it's I'm not going to regret it, you know. Okay. It's probably something that I'm just going to be ooh.
To be honest, man, I didn't even want to be in the room. I was
yeah, you feel like you should though. Hey, you feel like you're... Well, last time it was a very different experience. Obviously, there's even less I could do because I had one leg. But
that's right.
But this one was a natural birth as well.
Yeah.
And same sort of stuff as you, forward and backwards between what's going to happen, and we didn't know, and it took so long, but Emily wanted to try naturally, obviously. So it ended up being natural, which is good.
That's good.
Yeah, but it took ages, and then man, we had this she's studying to be a midwife. I don't know what the proper term is. She's at uni and stuff.
Yeah. Shauna's a midwife as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how funny when the doctors are coming in telling me like what's going to happen. I was just looking at her like,
Is that right?
You're the midwife, and she's just like gassing up, just like thumbs up, like, yep, I'm happy with that. I'm like, what the fuck are they saying?
Yeah,
like, I'm
that was
just a
like me.
mechanic, bro.
Yeah, they're saying all these numbers and stuff, and I'm like, this must be what it's like when we're talking about cars. Like,
yeah, I felt so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
when they're like, the heart rate's dropping, we can do this, then this, and this, and I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah, they're like the heart rate's at this number, and you're kind of like, is it good or bad? Like, I don't.
So I'm like, yeah, man.
What's it meant to be?
So long as it's not at 0, I think we're okay.
Yeah. Because every time Shauna had a contraction, it was Tommy's heart rate was like dropping to like almost nothing.
Yeah, okay.
So
is that why they went to the C-section?
Yeah, so that we're like, we need to test just the blood to see how much oxygen's in the blood. So they had to like go in and then cut Tom's head and then take blood and then test the oxygen. And then they were like, you're at basically the minimum of like what we recommend. And I was just like, all right, let's wait because we obviously had our own midwife. And we're like, all right, let's wait for the midwife. She was at another birth.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we need to do this now. And I was just looking at Shauna. I was like, at the end of the day, like, what the fuck do I do? And I was like, let's just wait. They're like, okay, waited, did another one. And they were like, it's time for a C-section. I just looked at Shauna and I was just like, this is worst case scenario of what we wanted.
Yeah.
And then, went for a C-section. Like, she got the injection in the spine.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck, I don't know. It wasn't an epidural, it was something else.
Yeah, there's 2A.
Yeah, and then went for a C-section. They're like, we're just going to check one more time. They're like, oh, yep, you're 10 centimeters, push. And then boom, came out.
Oh, really?
Like, sweet.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And then legit, it didn't stop from there. It was like when we came home with Tom, like there's like I think it's like a 1 in, I don't know, it's like a 1% chance that she could, like that the wound that they, like when they stab you in the back with this needle, there's a chance that wound won't heal.
Yeah.
So every time you get up, you get fucking headaches and you can't look after the baby. So she got that as well. And they were like, the only way for that to heal is if you fucking do it again or you just hope that it goes on its own. So after 2 days of like legit Shauna just lying in bed, it actually went away, bro. They were like, every time that happens, they actually have to come back and do it because you can't actually look after the sit up to breastfeed. But she was lucky that it wasn't that bad. But
man.
it was just a fucking nightmare. I don't want to ever go.
I think that's the hard part, eh? When you're the guy, like obviously the person watching it, you're like all the negative stuff is going through your head because you got nothing to like occupy yourself on, so you're just worried about everything. And there's so many things that like come into your head.
Yeah, I remember legit like sitting in the room and then Tommy coming out and then they put him on like another table because he wasn't crying or breathing, so they had to suss him. And because we were having a surprise, we didn't know if it was a boy or girl.
Yeah, okay.
And Shauna just looks at me, she goes, do you know what we had yet? And I was just like, nah, I didn't even like, I was so freaked out.
Yeah, your brain
didn't even check. Yeah. And then when I checked and I seen a penis and I was like, yes! I jumped for joy, eh? Yeah.
Justin's always like that when he sees dicks. So,
I fucking love cock. So yeah, I mean, fuck. I don't want to go through that shit again, bro. And you just went through it.
Yeah.
Round 2.
I actually did a lot better than I thought I would because it, like, I don't know, thinking about it all, I kind of wigged myself out. But when you're like in the moment and it's all just happening and I could kind of see the sense of it all, like, I don't know, just little things like the C-section or stuff like that. If it had to happen, I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to, like, I don't want to be there. Like, yes. But at the same time, when it's like happening and you can see the options laid out in front of you when they're all talking about it, you're kind of like, yeah, well, that's the only thing to, like, it just makes sense. But,
Yeah, I freaked out, bro, because like I'm legit I wasn't arguing, I was like questioning the head doctor.
Yeah.
Because there's two sides. Like there's the side where the mainstream like hospital systems are just like, even if there's a slight deviation from the norm,
they kind of
C-section, boom, just get it done. Whereas like naturopaths not naturopaths, but like midwives and stuff like that, they want to do things natural. They'll be like, all right, there's ways we can work around it. Like if we turn to the side or if we try and work around this issue naturally, it'll still be fine. Whereas doctors will be like, nah, don't give a fuck, get it out C-section, which is horrible.
That's the hard part for a male brain to understand is because Like they're like, oh, we can do it this way, we can do it that way, and you're like, you just tell me like on a scale of like 1 to 10, which one is, you know, where are we on both of them? Because like to me, I don't understand anything.
Gibberish.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Trev, you're lucky you haven't gone through it yet, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have nothing to add to this conversation besides I have not gone through it.
Just standing there like, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't have kids, eh?
I felt sorry for the student midwife, I guess you'd call her.
Yeah.
She helped us so much because it was like 3 days Emily was there, and she was there like more than me pretty much. Like I swapped with Emily's mum for like 6 hours the first day, went back and then was there the whole night the second night, but she was there more than that, you know. Went home, had some food and stuff and came back. Yeah. And I think it's part of their course or something. They need to be like a certain amount of births or something like that. Don't quote me on it, but
Sean had to do all that shit too.
Yeah, and she was really excited to see the birth, and
it all went tits up.
Man, she was there for like, it would have been like all day, then went home for 3 hours, then went back and was there all night, and then it was like 9 o'clock the next morning she was born. Yeah. And she was, you know, 5 minutes out and she bloody passed out next to the like I was on one side and she was on the other, and it was one of those moments where like, I don't know, there was 3 bloody midwives or nurses or whatever in there, and everyone's busy like thinking about stuff, and I'm kind of like trying to support Emily, like, you know, like, you know, holding her hand and speaking to her and stuff. And this boof like looked over and like no one had like the spare time to help, you know. Like,
you're not important. Like, you sleep on the floor.
We just kind of watched her fall on the floor, and everyone just got back to it. Like I was like, I was so sorry for her. And then she got up and felt how bad. She was like, oh, like thought she ruined everything for us. And we're like, we don't care about like, you know,
you're not important.
Like we just wanted to make sure she was all right. But she was so like, you know, upset for us. I'm like, no, don't worry about that. But
how shit are those chairs, bro?
Oh, Midland was actually pretty good, eh? It's the first time I've had a good experience there, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Fucking hell.
I've heard the maternity ward is pretty good there, but I was like, you know, I don't know
it's
the
all
difference.
new, I guess.
But it was really good, to be honest, because every other time I've been there, it's because I've hurt myself and they've been pretty shit. But
emergency section, bro. But like, because we went to King Eddie's and that hospital is just so old, bro. I was like, what the fuck? Where am I? This is like a complex out of World War II, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I was like, come on. This is meant to be the best like children's or like birthing hospital in WA. And I was like, this place is a shithole.
Yeah. No, Midland was actually pretty good, to be honest. Like the rooms are massive, and they had like at least a nice couch or a seat or anything in all of them, and heaps of room and like everything you could need. Hey, it was pretty good.
We were stuck in a room about this size for probably 10 hours, man.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck is this? They were like, you need to get this baby out now. And we were like,
how?
We're like, okay.
Because I wasn't trying.
Yeah, and we were like, all right, cool. When's the birthing suite ready? Oh, it won't be ready yet. And it was legit like 8 hours later. I was like, what happened to you need to get this baby out now? But there's no rooms. What do you mean?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll probably change the subject now.
Yeah, nah.
Us old people just talking about being dads and stuff.
It's pretty cool though, being a dad.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard work, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Agreed.
Okay, yeah, so how's the cars going, mate?
Straight into it, eh?
Worst subject.
So you had a daughter. Cool. All right, cars. Yep. Back to it.
You said change the subject.
I did not.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Nah, to be honest, I haven't had a lot of time for... I've been working on Luke's 180, trying to get that done because I kind of made the decision to finish that before I start my drift car. Yeah. Because I try to do both, and by the time you like unpack everything and sort everything out, you kind of have to pack it all up again and move it, you know? So I'm like, I'll just do Luke's car till it's done and then get mine in and you know, at least it's undercover and I can pull it apart without worrying about rain and stuff then.
Yeah, because you were still working on that last podcast, weren't you? Yeah,
probably. It's been there for a while now, over a year now. Yeah.
Okay. So it must have needed a fair bit of work then.
Yeah, like all panel work, they always blow out, man. Like it's...
That's just Sylvia things, eh?
Well, every panel job I've ever done, like any big resto or anything, is like there's always more than you can see once you get in there. But like this is why I don't like doing it for mates as well, because it's like it always ends up like that. And I always say at the start, it's like, you know, I can give you a rough idea, but it's like it just once you cut the panels off or whatever, you see what's under there, or you find damage, you can't quite align a panel, and you realize, oh, this is all bent, or this is always something.
It's just the can of worms. It's like you quoted a mate a certain price, and then you feel like a piece of shit for being like, hey bro, it's actually going to cost you a lot more because of this and this, and then like it's like, do you ask for more money, or do you just go,
someone loses at the end of the day, whether it's you or them, it's like,
and you don't want it to be you, because time is valuable, bro. Like,
exactly. And it's like, I'm lucky enough that he's one of my best mates, and he's very good about that sort of stuff. And I didn't really have to explain all that to him because we've been close for so long that he
gets
knew
the gist
it all,
of it.
But he's happy to understand the situation. And then, long story short, undid the hatch to try and align it a bit better, and then found rust there. So I had to cut a massive section out of the roof and all the braces out of the, like, pretty much all the...
Is it like, does it have a sunroof?
No.
Okay,
no.
that's all right.
But yeah, all the braces under the roof to repair all the sections in there, and like, weld the section back in, and then the bloody fiberglass fenders, I had to make new uprights out of aluminium and then bond them all together, and like, it just...
That sounds like a fuckload of work, to be fair.
It is, man, and it's...
Do you want to have a look at the Evo for me, bro?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. I'm like, I like doing it, but 2-in-1 roster, I don't have enough time to like, and I don't want to do a shit job either. So it's like in this situation where it's almost done, to be honest, but it's like, I'd rather do a good job and it take ages, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I've got all this other shit I need to do as well. I need to finish this first. So it's like, I don't know, it's just another sort of stress. What would you like? Another cause of stress, I guess. But I've weighed up all the options, and even he's like, man, just bring it to my house until you can do it, And but even then, I'm like, I'm still going to worry about it, like, because it's at the stage now where if I let someone else do it, it won't be what I wanted, It won't be the standard I want to do it to, and all the work I have done up until now, I feel like will be wasted if someone just does it. Well, I'm not saying no one else could do the same, but I don't think they would for. It'd cost him way too much. If
plus he's your mate, so like you're not going to rip him off, and you're going to do the best that you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like, we agreed on a rate, and I'm like, I'm probably not going to charge you for all of it, but I'd rather do a good job, because I'm probably doing things that don't need to be done, but for peace of mind, I don't like worrying about it later, So I'm just going to do the best I can pretty much. And then I understand if that's out of the budget. Yeah. But
because you think like most panel shops would have quoted X amount, and then they would have seen like all these other things and just sort of like bodged it up. Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, we won't worry about that. We'll just fucking do what we're here to do. And that's it.
Yeah, it's a hard one because I've worked at a couple of resto shops, but only one that I would like, that I know the quality is good, But that's not to say the rest of them, like, it's just...
Just brief intermission.
All I was trying to do was turn my fucking phone on silent.
And he yeets it on the floor.
Noise, But no, it's... Yeah, the resto game is one of those things. And I think, to me, I don't want to do it unless there's a very clear understanding that I'm not going to take shortcuts. And that means if it costs more, it costs more, because I don't want to do shoot work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a resto is always one of those things where you can't really put a price on it because you don't know how long it's going to take.
And
especially, like maybe if they brought you the car and it was all, in metal, and you could see all the parts you're using and stuff and how they fit and everything, you might be able to do that and know that all the metalwork's done. But it's like the metalwork is what takes the time. You cut the panel out and then there's more to do. And then, not only that, how the panels fit or where you get the panels, or like just every little piece of this thing is taking so long. But at the same time, it's like, if you took it to another shop, they'd probably put it on the best they can, make it fit the best they can. And that's what it is, like, which is fine. And there's a place for that, because there's no way people want to spend 50 grand on a bloody S13.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time, if I'm doing it, I want to do it the best I can. So there's no, like, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? It's I'm not going to be happy with it if there's ripples in it and if the bonnet's not quite perfect. Like, So
It's the little things, eh?
yeah, it is.
But it's like-
that's what's the enjoyable part for me doing the panel work is like making sure it's perfect, because if it's not, it'll piss me off to the day to the day it, like, you know, gets sold or crashed or whatever. But it's
I like how you bring that
Yeah.
up. Crashed Sylvia.
yeah, well, like this one is a road car. Obviously, I wouldn't
Yeah.
put that much time into a drift car because we all know
Yeah,
what
it's gonna-
happens
yeah.
to them. Yeah,
But it's like with panel work and spray painting and stuff like that, like 99% of the work is the prep work. So
yeah,
you want to get that nailed.
yeah. Like the paint, obviously, there's skill involved in laying it on nicely.
I'm not saying there isn't, but
Yeah, but yeah, if to get it to like a high standard, yeah, 100%, and that's got to be done from the start of the job too. Like, which is another frustrating thing when you're doing long term jobs like that. Is like you have a lot of people bring their car in and it's, you know, been sitting around for years, and fair enough. Like everyone is at different stages, and like our cars now, man, it's sometimes you just don't get the time, and I get that,
Yeah.
but a lot of the times they'll bring their car in and be like, I'll just be happy to get it, you know, like as good as it was before it came off the road. And you try and have the conversation then, because you're like, what happens most of the time is people say that and then you get it 90% of the way, and then they're like, oh, can we just do this a little bit better and that? Well, like, yeah, we can, but we've got to undo all the stages to redo it now. Like,
Yeah.
if you want it nice, tell me now and we'll do it nice from the start. Like,
yeah.
because you can't sort of, there's so many stages and there's so many sequences that have to be done. For you to change one little thing later, it's like if you got to grind the, you know, the primer off or do a bit of metal work, like, you know, there's 3 stages
You
of
basically,
primer
yeah.
and there's all this stuff that has to be redone now. And it just, that's the frustrating bit about resto stuff anyway. So that's why I like to be clear from the start. I'm like, this is how I'm doing it. And if you don't want to do that, take it somewhere else. Like,
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Like,
but it ends up being cheaper for them. I think a lot of people are just convinced that, well, not convinced, but the problem is with panel work is the better you make something look, the more something little stands out that's not quite right. So if that's something that's out of your control without doing metal work, for instance, like if they don't want you to cut up the guards or weld up door gaps and stuff like that, you get the rest of the car as good as you can, and then that door gap sticks out like dog's balls because everything else is perfect, you know? So it's hard for them to visualize that, I think, because they obviously haven't seen it from start to finish that many times. But that's one thing if I do it, it's got to be that sort of job. Otherwise, I'm not interested.
yeah. That's fair bump. Because I've got, like, since taking the engine out of the Evo on the subframe, it's just the subframe's rusted.
Yep.
And then it's slowly like working its way to the engine bay. So I just got to like, I guess it's surface rust, but you already know it's like through the chassis rails, which is the problem. So it's like you can't get in there.
That's the thing. There's like, I hate that term surface rust because I'm like,
But it's not.
there's no such thing as surface rust.
It's
Like,
rust is rust,
yeah,
bro.
it doesn't
like,
start from the top of a panel and just
I
appear on
know.
the top. Like, unless, you know, the paint's all peeled off and shit. But
Yeah.
even then, if it's that far gone, there's going to be more, you know?
100%. And it's one of those things that's like going to irritate the fuck out of me, because I remember, I think it was like 3 years ago, I pulled the car up, like the full arse end apart. I took the diff out, everything out, and I was like, I'm going to just like sand it all back and just paint it just to prevent it getting worse. But it got to a point where I was just like, the whole car needs to be put on a rotisserie and fucking gone over, and I was just like, fuck this, and I just put it back together.
Yeah. That's another thing I struggle with. Like, working to a high standard is like, where do you draw the line as well? Because it's like,
that's a massive job.
yeah.
Putting a car on a rotisserie, like you see all these YouTubers do it, and it's just like, it's like it happens overnight.
Well, it's like the rotisserie isn't that big a deal to put it on there and, you know, roll it over and stuff like that. But it's like, like that 180 is a good example. I took the hatch off, noticed some rust like through the mounting points, just because like with the sealer around the bloody hinges had cracked because it's, you know, 30 years old now.
Yeah.
So the water just got in there and in the bolt holes and was just sitting where they bolt on pretty much. So I didn't notice it until, well, nobody even knew about it until I took the hatch off, because I was like, I'll just clean up them holes, because usually there's sealer in the holes, and I'll clean that out, and just so I can adjust it where it needs to go to line up perfectly. Unbolt that, pulled it off, and I'm like, like a tiny little, you know, a few little speckled holes around the hinges sort of thing, and where the hatch, like the back of the roof where the hatch covers when you open it, so you just couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I've seen a few in there, and I'm like, oh, like, it doesn't look too bad. Got a torch out, and I'm like, yeah, it shouldn't be too bad, but you know, I started looking further and pulled the hood lining out, pulled all the interior out, and I'm like, okay, it's like all the way, because it's just the shape of that panel, it's just sat in there, and it's gone through, I can't remember how many, there was like, so the roof, 2 panels, and then like a fish plate style panel in the, you know, the corners, I guess, from the B pillar and the C pillar. And it's gone through all of them, you know. So I unpicked the whole roof to get to that and did everything to the proper process, which takes a lot of time. And that's the thing that a lot of shops won't do, is like...
You have to drill through all like the spot welds and shit.
Yeah, yeah. So you like unpicked, all those panels, cut a section out of the roof, pulled all the panels out, and then, you know, pretty much sanded it all, wire wheeled it all, rust treated it, used the proper primer, which like a lot of shops don't even have. Like they don't even use epoxy primer on the metal, or, you know, there's a lot of different processes, but a job like that, like I only know that process because I've worked at a good shop that I have seen the proof, you know what I mean? But I put all that back together, welded it all, did everything properly. And then I'm like, just moving the doors and stuff. And, you know, the same sort of thing. It's not rust, but it's like what a lot of people would call surface rust. You know, you can just see that brown tinge through where the areas aren't painted on the sort of body of the car with the doors bolt on and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, like how far do I take this thing? Because realistically, to get rid of every single speck is like cut every panel off and treat it all and buy
a new Sylvia, eh?
But even then, it's like legitimately, if you bought a new Sylvia, it'd probably end up like this in a year. So it's like that's a very hard line for me to like draw, because I'm like, I want it perfect, and that's the only thing in my head. But I'm like, I got to remember that the cars need to be driven, and there's no point like once you go that far with a car, it's like it's not a car anymore, man. You may as well hang it up on a wall, like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
what's your method of choice to getting a car back to metal? Do you just use
pretty much anything?
Paint stripper, or like sandblast or ice blast or whatever the fuck they do now?
I try and avoid paint stripper just because it's a pain to get into. Like it works good, but it gets in between the panels and stuff like that, and it's really hard to get out, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So depending on the area, like if you've got it depends on the paint as well, but if it's a normal 2-pack car, which is what they're all painted in now, but like some of the older ones are enamel or acrylic, which is like you sand it and it just melts into the disc. If you've ever used that, like spray paint, you know, like spray can paint.
Yeah, it turns into like clumps.
Yeah, you just can't bloody sand it, so it takes ages. So if it's something like that on a big flat area, I'll paint strip it and then just
like
scrape
a bonnet
it off.
or a boot.
Yeah. But a lot of that stuff will actually come off with gun wash as well. So like if you just kind of pour chemicals on it, the older stuff, you can almost just scrape it off like that. And then
it's really satisfying when you put paint stripper on it and it all peels, and then you just get this big scraper and just
especially when it goes down to the metal. But the other thing with paint stripper is like a lot of the times you do that, scrape it off, and then you got to do it again, and it just becomes so messy. But
that shit's so fucking bad for you, man.
Yeah, man.
That shit'll kill you.
I paint stripped I got the old Saphiro fuel filler door and made it fit the 180 just because I wanted it to fit perfectly. You know what I mean? I didn't want to cut his one up. And I wasn't using mine, so I was like, it's a bit flatter and easier to work with. So I, cut and welded the hinge and made sure it all like fit the contour. So the goal is so you can't notice it's like a wide body, you know. So I did all that, got it all nice, and you know, cut and weld everything. And I was like, yeah, cool, happy with that. You know, I'll paint strip it, just because it's a hard sort of shape to get into all the back of the hinges and the pins and everything.
Yeah.
So I paint stripped it, and even now I'm like, man, I wish I didn't do that. Like I wish I don't know, sanded it down while I cut the welds and pulled it apart. Like at the time I'm like, yeah, it'll be right. I'll just, you know, like there's only a few little bits that are hard to get into. I'll just wire wheel them, you know. But now I'm like,
ends up being a bigger job.
Yeah, like, and even now I'm like, I'll probably just get it sandblasted and primed, just because I can't guarantee that there's no paint stripper left left in the little bits in between.
Like if you leave paint stripper, does it become like what's the harm in that? Like, can it turn into rust, or can it just like eat away at the metal? Or
I'm pretty sure that it becomes less acidic. Like it stops working. I know that, but
the fact that it's just there though.
Yeah, and it's not the fact that it's paint stripper. It's just the fact that like, because of how strict like I like to work, and I don't like anything to sort of
weigh on your mind.
Yeah. I like no doubt, and I
sounds
know,
like you got OCD, brother.
Well, I don't know if it's like,
You're a perfectionist.
I had to be that way to work at that shop that I worked at, which is what I wanted. Like I wanted to do the best I could. So
Yeah.
and that's the way to do it. But the things you learn when you do it to that level is hard to unlearn. You know, you can't just be okay with not doing it now. Like so, like just little things, man. Not even if it's not paint stripper, if it's something, if it's oil, if it's WD-40, if there's so many contaminants that if that gets on the metal before you prime it, then
It's stuck in there.
Yeah, but it's like that direct to metal primer is the only thing that should be touching the metal. You know what I mean? And if there's something in between that, there's a risk of everything coming off. And if it comes off from there, it undoes all the work on top of it, you know? So if you've got metal work, then primer, then filler, then poly primer, and you know, so many hours go into that, then the final result is paint. And that one little thing is on there and it starts peeling, you're fucked. You got to do the whole job again. It's like, it's a stressful fucking job, eh?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
That's why I go to the effort I do, because I'm like, I don't want to worry about that shit. I just want to know that it's going to be as good as it can be, you know?
Yeah.
And even then you can get like product failures sometimes, you know, like, but again, I go back to what we used and what I know will work and what I know is safe. I don't try anything new, like unless it's on my car, drift car or something like that, I'll have a crack
Different
and
story.
see if something will work, because I know it's probably only going to last, you know, a year at the max. Like, so if I'm going to try something, it'll be on that. But yeah, if I'm doing like a high quality job, I don't risk anything and I do everything, even if it takes twice the amount of time.
Yeah.
Just for my peace of mind to know that it's not going to flake off or, yeah.
It sounds like, I don't know, do you have like a real passion for doing restos, or have you sort of lost the passion now?
I ask myself the same question a lot, and I don't know. There is part of me that wants to say yes, but there's another part of me that every time I do it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm just so driven because I wanted to be so good at it, or I genuinely liked it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it was more the goal of like being the best I could be that was driving me to do it so well, rather than doing it because I liked it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
But it feels like I'm wasting that potential if I don't use it now, you know what I mean? Because I've like learned so much, I guess.
Have you noticed that since you've stepped away from doing it as a full-time job, have you noticed that you enjoy doing it more now as it's more of a hobby rather than a job?
No, not really, to be honest. Like, because it is one of those things. I think if I had the right setup, I would.
Yeah.
But because doing it at home makes it so hard, it's
just the tools, like you don't have the sandblaster or the place
not
to
that.
sand
It's
it
just a messy job, and if you don't have the right setup and you don't have the right tools, like you don't have the right environment for it, everything is so much harder than it should be. And doing it every day, the stages take so long in that sort of work anyway that it doesn't, it kind of just prolongs the process if you're doing it as a hobby, you know. It's hard to, but one thing that I do like is like, if I was at the shop that I used to work at and doing, you know, obviously there's a strict process for the reasons we just talked about, but I'm like, if I had an idea and I'm like, I can't see any reason why that wouldn't work and I want to try it. Like, obviously we wouldn't try it because we'd stick to the tried and true method, but obviously doing it for myself, I can
experiment.
And you know, I can do it on my car, or obviously I wouldn't try anything that I don't know for sure isn't going to work on someone else's car, but just, you know, different methods, or try something. And if I waste a couple of hours on it, it's like, oh, okay, well, at least I know now. Whereas I wouldn't feel right doing that if someone else is paying me to do it, you know?
Yeah. Because I remember like when I did work experience, when I did my pre-apprenticeship, so we're going back since when I was 17.
Yeah.
Worked in a panel shop for, I think it was like 9 months or something. And man, it's so fucking dusty. Like all day, because I was a work experience kid, I was just on a broom.
Yeah.
Just cleaning up dust.
Yeah, and even like, I don't think people understand, even my little garage, like I've gone to a massive effort to make sure as little as possible gets dust all over it. Like everything is in those like 50 litre plastic containers and like I've got my, you know, RV26 and everything in there, but I've like
glad wrapped it,
pretty much. Yeah. I made a little wheelie trolley for it and slid it under a bench and then wrapped it all up. But even then it's like, it just gets everywhere, man, because it's so fine as well. And it's so light. It just floats on top of everything. And
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I remember just working in that shop. Like, it was sick being in there. I actually wanted to do panel beating, but yeah, I was just like, fuck me, man. There's so much sanding, just prep. I was like, I'll stick to swinging spanners.
Yeah, that's part of what like drew me to it. Like I was kind of in between. Well, it wasn't in between, but I started a electrical apprenticeship as an electrician, and it was just a shit position for me to be in because I was like living ages away from the jobs and the pay was little, and I lived ages away. Oh, sorry, I just said that, but the pay was little and it was late. Like every week it'd be like another week late, or it was just inconsistent. And I know it's not a big deal, but I'm like, when you're living week to week, I'm like, man, I can't afford the fucking fuel to get here. Like, and I can't afford lunch. Like, it's
not worth it.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I ended up just working in a warehouse until I figured out something else, you know. And this came up, did work experience there, and I liked it because I was like, it's like a little bit of everything, you know. It's you're doing like mechanical, you're doing...
Yeah, because you're still taking engines and gearboxes out for like insurance jobs and stuff like that. And so you are, doing mechanical. You're legit just doing everything on the car.
Yeah, it's like metal work, it's mechanical, it's, you know, everything you can think of on a car we have to do pretty much. The only thing I think we're not allowed to do is rebuild major components. So, but I have this conversation now because I'm working on the road trains as well. It's like, it's frustrating to me that there's no crossover from that to sort of diesel fitter or anything like that, because I'm like, man, most mechanics I know don't rebuild engines. Like it's a specialty thing, and unless you're a performance shop or something, even then, a lot of the guys will have their trusted engine builder or a trusted gearbox.
They'll send
builder,
it out to like Harris Engines or Kendricks or some shit like that.
Yeah, so it's like realistically, I know you guys do a lot more of the mechanical stuff and maintenance and stuff like that, but it's like there's nothing that we can't do that, you know, say a dealership wouldn't do, you know? Like
I get that.
And even there's a lot more actually, to be honest. Like we do repair wiring, and like I did my apprenticeship Mundaring Smash Repairs, which is I think the only panel shop, at the time it was the only panel shop from Northern to Midland, I think.
Yeah, fuck.
And like it was a big workshop and we had a lot of like big equipment sort of thing. I think the boss used to be a wholesaler for like a big welding supplier sort of thing, panel stuff. But he had like pulling benches and all that. So we would get all the big jobs, you know.
Like the pulling jigs that are in the floor and shit?
So you drive the car. Well, they're like what most panel shops have, like pots that are just bolted to the floor. But we had pulling benches. So you drive onto the bench and it's all hydraulic. Oh, fuck. And then like, you know, you got all these attachments. You jack the car up, clamp it, and all these like
hydraulic arms, and you
pull
the panels out.
Yeah. So we had a lot of them, and not a lot of shops had them. You know, we had all the big stuff, so we'd get all the big jobs. And because being in the hills, a lot of them were 4 drives, but like we did like chassis swaps on some cars and like just huge jobs, you know. So to go to like a mechanical sort of trade where they're like, oh, it's not the same. It's like, man, I've done everything that I have done here in my apprenticeship. The only difference is rebuilding components, and we don't even do that here. Like
it's when everyone's just like, oh, cars, blah blah blah. Oh, this is up. I'm like, man, at the end of the day, it is all just nuts and bolts.
Yeah,
it's nuts and bolts, man. Like until you get into like the full resto stuff where, you know, you're lining up panel gaps and your actual bogging
even I still think that like I've been told I'm very good at it, you know, but I still think. In my head, I'm like, anyone can do it if you try hard enough. Yeah. It's not a job that's like...
It's time. It's just time to learn the processes.
Yeah, I feel like it's not like a talent. Like like with, say, drifting, it's like there has to be some sort of talent, and I'm not sure whether that's kind of learned or just picked up from other things like subconsciously. But with panel beating, it's like I wasn't good at it when I started, and then I just put in so much effort every time that eventually... And you never like... I still don't accept that I'm sort of good at it, you know, because you're always looking to get better. But like you look at what other people do and then you look at what you do and it's like, well, I'm obviously like I don't think I'm better. I just think I put more effort in than that guy, you know, but I think anyone can do it. The only hard part is knowing what can go wrong and the trusted procedures and stuff, which is a lot of people wouldn't even have the opportunity to learn the way that will last, you know?
Yeah.
But in a way, that kind of annoys me because...
It comes down to experience because my first S13, my second one, the one that I resprayed myself and did all the panel shit on, man, like lack of experience, that car turned out fucking disgusting. Like, not like learning that you have to overlap a certain amount and like I like didn't take any of the panels off, so I sprayed the whole car so you can see like where my footing's not right, and you
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
I've like dipped down and shit like that. At the end of the day, it all comes down to like you said, how much effort you're going to put in,
and
the
and
time
then-
and the experience, and like learning where you went wrong and redoing it. Because
Yeah.
man, like I probably could have sanded that whole car back and done it again. But I was
that's a
like,
good
fuck
example,
it.
but because I feel like anyone that ever paints or gets into it would have done that,
Yeah.
like that. And there's no way you can just naturally be good at it without
100%.
going through that and learning what to do better next time and just putting in the hours. Like, and it's not like, I hate the saying of just putting in enough hours, because it sounds like just do it enough and you'll be good at it, because
Yeah.
you got to try to improve every time you do it as well, but I just feel like if people put in the same effort, they will get there. It's not something that's like, oh, you're lucky. It's just, you got to put in the effort to get good at it. Like,
Yeah, because I remember doing it at my dad's like carport, man, and we just put tarps up everywhere, so like
Yeah.
all the dust was like contained in the paint.
yeah,
And then I bought everything, thought I had everything that I needed, and then it was like, oh, the compressor didn't hold enough air, so I wasn't
Yeah.
getting enough
Yeah.
CFM. And then it was like, all right, I ran out of fucking filters to put the paint through
Yep,
to go
yep,
into
yep.
the gun. So I was like, fuck, what do I do? So I was like, oh, I won't use filters. I'll just quickly put
Yeah.
it in. And then the
Yeah,
gun
the
started
gun blocks
clogging up.
and yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, I need to go get some like stockings. So I started
yeah.
using stockings. And then I was like, fuck, I don't have enough solvent to clean my gun.
That's
Because
what,
every time
like,
you do a run, your
that's
gun
what the
just
whole
sits
trade's
there.
like.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part, because like, even I've seen, I've been to a lot of really good shops and met a lot of really good guys, like panel and paint wise, and you can tell the good guys, like, I wanted to believe for so long that I would find an easy way to do it all, but
isn't.
there's no easy way, and it's just like
You gotta trust the process, really.
yeah,
Like,
and it's like, obviously what I can do, what I struggle with might be a little bit better than a guy that's doing it for the first time, but there's no like, oh yeah, just do this and that'll work. It's like every time I see a good painter, something will go wrong and they'll just know what to do. Like, and that's the experience that you need to make every job good, sort of thing. And even then, man, even the best painters I've worked with, not every job's perfect. Like, every now and then something goes wrong and you got to fix it, and it's part of it. But it just sucks that so much time goes into that prep, and one little thing can undo it all.
Yeah. Have you thought about getting a shop, just a small garage, and then?
I have thought about it, but that's why I was saying before, I constantly ask myself whether I just like it because I know I can do it well, or whether I genuinely enjoy it. I still can't answer that, but to be honest, I don't think I enjoy it. Well, I enjoy doing every part of a car, and that's part of it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't enjoy just doing that, if that makes sense. Like, I'd love to restore cars, but I don't want to just do the panel work. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, like rebuild the parts.
You want to do everything.
Yeah,
Anything, everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, because man, the amount of times I've just sat back and gone, fuck, because I went through a stage of just watching, I don't know if you know Broken Sylvia, his YouTube,
yeah, I've heard of
Damien
it.
something.
I'm pretty sure I would have seen a couple
Yeah,
of videos.
like his full resto builds on turning his GDST R34 into like a fake GDR or poor man's GDR.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, like cutting the fenders and putting GDR rear fenders on and welding it all up and then painting it. Now he's doing like Supras and heaps of shit. And I'm just like, fuck, man, I just want to get a workshop and legit just buy a shit car and just restore it. And I'm like, you know how much fucking time, money, and like equipment I would need? I'm like, I don't even have enough time to like take the clutch off my engine block and send it to the builder. Like, but man, I reckon it'd be sick to have a workshop and just
it would
tinker on cars all day.
I've done a lot of thinking about it, just because I feel like I'm the type of person that no matter where I work, I'm always trying to improve things, and I'm always trying to find a better way to do it. And I'm like, part of me feels like working for someone else is wasting my potential in that respect.
Yeah.
And I would love to like open my own shop and do everything the most efficient way I can do it, and try and improve all the time and stuff like that. But especially with panel and paint, I did have a big think about it, and to make it work, you need a big workshop, you need a spray booth, you need like a lot of expensive equipment,
Yeah, man.
and to pay for all that, is very hard unless you hire a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, so realistically, you could be like a one-man band on very small stuff, but that's not how I enjoy working. I enjoy, and you know, I don't want to say I'm a tool snob, but
He's a snap-on snob, everyone.
No. Like
Okay, now, mate. Gucci, eh?
Yeah. No, I'm happy to use whatever works well, but part of enjoying that job comes from like getting a new tool that you're excited to use and using it. You know,
100%.
that's like a massive thing. And I'm like, if I can't afford the shit like that, I don't want to be doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
people don't realize like how much space you need for panel and paint.
yeah, exactly.
Like with
yeah.
mechanics, you can sort of get away with 150 square meter shop with maybe 3 or 4
Yeah.
bays.
Yep.
And then if it is just a one man band, like you sort of just need a hoist, a bench, and basically just like basic shit. Like you could
Yeah.
even get away with not even having a press to start with, or
Yeah, depending on what you're doing, like if
Yeah.
it's maintenance stuff, like, you know,
a hoist, air compressor, and if you want to get into tires, you can get a tire machine. But
yeah, and that's you know,
sort of it.
100
And
square
then-
meters would do that, you know.
100%.
But
And
with
then
a-
panel and paint, bro. It's like you said, spray booth, and then somewhere to fucking put all these dead cars because most of them are going to be fucking off the
Yeah,
road
and
for a while.
It's like, even my GDR, that's half the reason why I've taken it into storage, because I'm like, again, I don't want to half-ass it, but to do it properly, I need so much space. And so like you pull a car apart panel-wise, like headlights, bumpers, bonnets,
There's so
all the
much
panel,
shit,
all the
man.
interior to get to the panels, like it's not just pulling a motor and box out. Like that is like under my bench. That's no
Yeah.
space whatsoever,
Yeah.
you know, which is like the biggest component most people will take out. But it's
Yeah.
like,
Engine and box, it's like a crate in the corner.
yeah.
But when you completely strip a car, you basically need 2 like car spaces.
100% more. Like
Yeah, there you go.
I've got, and the other thing is all those parts that you're taking off have to be stored where they won't get damaged, like interior, fenders, all bonnets. Like you have to put that somewhere where you can't just stack them up on top. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you need so much space. I reckon if you pulled a car apart, like down to a bare shell and laid it out where you're not stacking it, you'd easily take up 6 car bays, I reckon.
Yeah.
Easily.
That's a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
People don't realize that, eh?
Yeah, I've got like all the light stuff out of my GDR in my roof because like, man, and luckily it's aluminium, all the fenders and stuff like that. But even that, it's like, I'm running out of space already, you know. That's why I took it up to, you know, where it's locked up. Because
Time to get a workshop, brother. You're working FIFO now. You can afford it.
no, that's, yeah. A workshop's the dream, but unfortunately I'm struggling to afford even my little garage at the moment.
Yeah. It's tough when you're obviously single income.
Yeah.
You got a family to feed. I mean, it's that same argument. Like, if you don't do it now, when will you? When will be the right time? It's
Yeah.
never the right time, but you sort of have to step back and go, fuck, I need to worry about putting food on the table first before I
Yeah.
throw it all away and
Yeah. The other
start a shop.
thing that stopped me, will made me reconsider it, I guess, is I've worked at a lot of shops and seen, I don't want to say how hard it is, because I do believe that if you do a good job and you build the reputation, you will get the work that you want, because I've seen that work as well, you know. But to do that, you have to be able to afford to tell people to go away, not to go away, but like,
Turn down the clients that you don't want.
Exactly,
the
yeah,
jobs that you
because-
don't want to do. But at the start, when you need the money, you sort of just,
Yeah.
you have to take the work on.
exactly. And that in the panel and paint industry, if you end up taking the jobs that you have to because you need to pay the bills, and I understand why you have to do it, but to be in that position, unfortunately, you get caught in that trap of, oh, you know, you did my mate's car for 10 grand or whatever. Can you do like a similar job here? And then you end up like, that's what I did with the tires, to be honest. Because I started it for my drift cars and my mates, and then eventually just kind of rolled it into a business, and, you know, I was like, you know, I'll just have a go of it and do it all properly, all, you know, paperwork wise and everything. But what that taught me was I was appealing to the wrong market, for one, and through word of mouth, I kind of screwed myself in the foot, because everyone that came to me was through a friend, and I gave that friend a cheap price.
Yeah, so everyone was expecting a cheap price.
And it's not their fault, but like if you did that in the panel, that's like not the work I want to be doing in the panel and paint industry. But I can't afford to, like, I don't have, you know, $1 million sitting there until I can build that reputation, because it would take, probably 10 years to build a trusted reputation to get the clientele that I would want,
Yeah.
But the only way I could make it work is if someone came and had a very long-term job and, they're happy to pay, like, I would just set a rate or whatever, work it out price-wise. And if that rate definitely covered a workshop and stuff for a year or whatever, I'd do it,
Yeah.
But that's the only way I could do it, I think.
Yeah, because I remember when you were doing tyres, you came here.
Yeah, yeah.
You did my TEs.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, man.
Yeah, it was. I didn't realize it was here until I did the last podcast, actually. I came here and I was like,
But that was like 6-7 years ago?
yeah, yeah.
That's fucking ages ago. Yeah, I was like, I'm not touching these TEs because knowing me,
Yeah.
I'll fucking scratch them.
Yeah.
But
No, that was a lot. I did a lot of jobs like that just because again, it's putting in the effort to make sure,
Yeah.
everything's in place and nothing's going to go wrong. Anyone can do it if they put in that effort, but it's like, again, you kind of have to make a mistake or two to realize, why did that happen and how do I improve on that? And if you haven't done it enough, I guess you're not confident. And luckily I had drift cars to learn on, so I kind of didn't matter if I scratched a rim here or there, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember fucking a time machine and a time balancer on the back of a Hilux.
Yeah, boy. I still find photos of that one. I like the look of it, and it was so upsetting when I realized it was like, because that ute was in my family for ages.
Yeah.
Like my dad, I think I learned to drive in that ute, actually. One of the cars I learned to drive in.
Nice.
But anyway, it's like a just little 2-wheel drive for like RN85 or whatever they're called.
Like
but like I got 4-wheel drive guards on it and did like the sign riding and had like a chrome surf grill, and it was a cool looking ute, but I put that canopy on it so I could like put the compressor over the roof and, build a work truck out of it, sort of thing. And I remember I put the canopy on, went down the highway, and I couldn't even do the speed limit. I was like, this ain't it, car.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck, that was ages ago, eh?
But I don't know. Part of me was trying to be grown up and doing sensible stuff, and I was like, it just makes more sense to buy a newer ute. Like I bought that V6 one after that, and it was the best ute ever, but I still kind of wish that I just put an NALS in that old work ute and just, I don't know. That was a cool looking ute though.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah. Fucking tyres. I hate doing tyres, man. It's like my least favourite job of anything on a car.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
Not for me, eh? I do them all day at work.
Yeah.
Like, I do so many tyres at work, but like tyres are piss easy. I just fucking hate them.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it is some form of OCD, but everything I do, it excites me to try and improve on it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, no matter what it is, if it's a repetitive task like tires, like I'm like, every time I do it, I try and improve it. And eventually I'm like, I might be able to do it a bit quicker. And for some reason, I just like am driven to do that the best I can, which for some reason makes me not hate it. But I guess it's probably just my discipline from trying to get better at motocross and like doing all the shit you don't want to do so much that you end up good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
But it's probably not a good thing in some respects as well. Like there's probably a lot better ways I could be using my time than obsessing over how good to put a tire on a rim.
Yeah. Say hello to your Tyre Power Pro.
Yeah.
Trev, you got anything to say, mate?
No, not quite.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I feel we've left you out of the conversation a little bit. But.
No, it's all good.
He's not worthy.
Oh, ouch. I just sit at a desk and work on computers, man.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I feel like I should do that.
I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, you sort of were alluding to a little bit before, is I naturally fell into a job where like I don't particularly love what I do, but it pays decent money.
Yeah.
And it lets me have the hobbies that I do. So like, you kind of stick to it. You enjoy it every now and then, but you'll have your fucking shit days as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like at the end of the day, it puts food on the table and a little bit more for cars and whatnot. So I'm like happy with where I am with that. But yeah, at some point it's kind of like, cool, if I actually potentially followed something I liked more, but if the money was less, would I be finding it more fulfilling? I don't really know.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I think I chased that dream of like, with the panel work, I just wanted to be good at it, and I'm passionate about cars, so I loved That's one thing I do love about it is like you can kind of rebirth an old car, you know, and save it and make it look perfect. And like when you do a massive job like that and you get to see the finished product, it is very rewarding. You know, that's one thing I do like about it. But yeah, it's a hard one. I forget where I was going with that. I lost it. But
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, that's right. I chased that dream and I got to, you know, I guess where I wanted to be, doing really nice cars, really high quality work, and some like stuff that I wouldn't even known was in Perth unless you were in those circles. Like, I was pretty lucky to work on some really nice cars and with really good people, but a lot of that job, like I said before, I love doing every part of sort of restoring a car, and a lot of the stuff was repetitive. And I actually had like a little diary, and when I was kind of weighing it up, like 90% of the stuff was stuff that I wasn't genuinely interested in, and 10% of it was stuff where I could challenge myself and do as good as I could. And that, to me, I weighed that up against the wage that I was getting and all that I could get at the time. Like, even for a good panel beater, you still paid pretty low usually. Well, it's gone up a little bit now, but then it was like you paid pretty low, even though what you're doing is very hard to do and not a lot of people can do it, you know?
Yep.
So I kind of chased that dream to the end and realized like there's nowhere to go from here. You know, what do I do from here? There's without opening a shop and taking a massive risk.
Which is a big leap, like going from just someone's employee to owning a shop.
Yeah.
Like, is a big step. And that's sort of the only way to make bank.
But even
in the car
man,
industry.
I don't even think like I've worked and seen that many businesses in that industry and they're just struggling to survive most of the time. Like, I reckon you've got more chance of just working your ass off and not making enough, like, to even worry about doing anything outside of work, than you do
owning a shop and struggling.
Yeah,
to put food
like
on the table.
even the shop that I was at, man, that was the best shop I know of. And I've never, not to say that no one else can do the work that they do, but I haven't seen it, you know? And I'm not like a person that follows all the shops and shit as well, you know? So yeah, there could be another shop, but that's the best quality work I've seen, the highest quality cars I've seen. And even that to take off, because I was there as he was working somewhere else, the boss, and had this, you know, on the side, I guess. I seen it go from that to a shop all by himself where he left his other place. And then it you know, it has taken off luckily, but it's been like 10 years since I kind of first went there. So that's how long it takes to do it. And he was working the whole time. He started that as well. You know, that's how hard it is to get one of these shops off the ground.
I guess that's why you see a lot of panel shops do majority just insurance work.
Yeah, well,
Because
that's where the
it's-
money is. Like,
yeah,
and
100%.
as a business model,
You chase the money.
exactly. And that's another thing I learned with doing the tires, man. I'm like, I was drawn to the challenge of doing the business and doing it myself and improving. And I did like that, and I still do. But at the end of the day, I could do it the best I ever could, and I'm still just changing fucking tires. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of had that realization. I'm like, yeah, it's not something I'm passionate about. And you can apply those business skills and all those other interesting things to anything, you know? So, I don't know. There's so many sides to that. Hey, there's so many like ways to think about it, I guess. I still haven't figured it out, obviously, but
Yeah. The other side of it as well that I don't think very many people talk about is like the whole lifestyle creep. So if you start like, you know, you start living to a certain wage, right? Going backwards from that, especially when you've got like kids to feed, etc. Like you just fucking can't. Like taking a risk of like starting your own shop when you've got, you know, just a brand new daughter now as well. It's just like most normal, sane people would not fucking take that risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, definitely challenging, man.
Yeah.
For
And I've
anyone.
always been like a big, well, I don't know if risk taker is the right term, you know, because obviously I am in some ways, but that isn't always the best thing because sometimes the risk doesn't work out. But I've always made sure that fear isn't stopping me doing something. You know what I mean? So if I feel like I want to do something, there's always two voices. There's one voice saying, yeah, imagine how cool it could be. And there's another voice saying like, oh no, play it safe, you know? But I've always been the type of guy that's like, just give it a crack and have enough faith in yourself that you're going to make it work, because a lot of people don't even realize what they're capable of because they've never put 100% effort in, because they're too scared.
Yeah.
So I think you will surprise yourself if you give it a crack. But having said that, I find myself for the first time, like with my 2 daughters and people that are dependent on me, thinking about those choices a lot more. Like before, if it was just me, fuck it, I'm happy to eat noodles.
Full send.
What's the worst that can happen? Like,
you got to start again? Whoop-de-doo.
Exactly. It never really scared me, like, because I'm like, I know I can live with fuck all money. Like, I grew up with fuck all money and shit houses, so it's like
you sort of adjust to how much you earn.
Yeah,
but
and
like you're saying, you got a wife, you got a roof.
Yeah, and
you got 4 or 5 mouths to feed.
Yeah,
and that's scary to think that if I don't work or bring in the money, what's going to happen to not just me but my family?
Yeah,
the people
exactly.
that depend on me. I'm the rock.
Yeah,
like I hate to say it, but if it wasn't for my family, I'll just get another workshop. No worries.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Worst comes to worst, I'll just move back in mum's. But can't fucking do that. What am I going to do? Take this whole house to my mum's? And bring 4 cats and a dog and then a kid and my wife. It's like,
can you imagine?
Yeah. So
and it's a hard one, because it is like, even now I'm working on the road trains and I'm technically a TA there, so non-qualified or anything, and like a lot of the guys there have said, you've obviously done a fair bit of mechanical stuff, and I've been looking into like doing an RPL or even an apprenticeship. But even then, I'm like, I want to do it, and I'm happy to make that sacrifice of getting paid less, but it doesn't just affect me anymore. If I get paid less now than I'm on, then I can't, pay the bills for my family. So
So what sacrifices have to be made? Do we have to turn the internet off?
But it's like, it's not, I'm happy to make those sacrifices, but I feel like it's unfair for me to make those on someone else's behalf, and that's like, I've always been like, cool. If I want to do something and I'm happy to give it a crack. To me, it's like, well, worst case scenario, it'll be a few shit months or whatever, and I won't be able to, go out or buy clothes or fucking whatever it is. Like, there's been that many times where I've just done that because I don't want to let fear stand in the way of it. But it's a very different situation when you've got dependents, and it's hard, because on one hand, I'm like, I feel like I should be doing more all the time. Like I feel like I'm wasting my potential because I'm not qualified in that area, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. But at the same time, it's like, well, if I don't take that risk, I don't get the reward, which it's a double-sided coin. Do I earn just enough for the rest of my life, or do I I don't even know what would happen. I've like worked out the budget and taken everything off that I don't need, and it's still like just cutting it. And that's the other thing, man. Everything's so expensive at the moment. So it's like, it's not even a case of like, oh, can I do without the luxuries? It's like, I don't have any fucking luxuries. You know what I mean? It's like,
what are the luxuries?
Yeah.
I eat fucking spud shed steaks. That's my luxuries.
Yeah.
Like every time I think, fuck it, I'll get a workshop, and I'm like, I'm looking at all these workshops. I'm like, I don't need anything that big. I'll just get something like 100 square meters.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 20 grand plus outgoings. And I'm like, so it's going to be 25K a year, which will be a couple grand a month. And I'm like, I don't even have $100 spare a fortnight. How the fuck am I going to get that couple grand a month? It's like, all right, I'm going to have to work even more.
Yeah.
Like after hours.
Just to work. Yeah.
To pay the bills of like rent and outgoings of this workshop. And then it's like, by the time I'll get home, I won't even see my kids. It's like, what the fuck's the point in that?
Yeah. And you like, that's another thing about is,
you got to put the effort in, you got to put the hours in.
It's the same as cars, man. I always kind of related to cars because when I was young, just getting into cars and drifting, man, I used to go to work all day, then go home, then spend another 10 hours in the shed
with your buddies, and it'd be like nothing though.
Yeah, but I was a lot more committed than a lot of other people just for some reason for drifting, thinking like, I don't want to put a bad twist on it, but it's like, I've always been a person that's like, you put in the effort and you'll achieve it. And like, I haven't even thought about the other option. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not working, put in more effort. Like, and that's subconsciously how I've always thought. But now that I'm more experienced, even in the car stuff, is like, you don't do as much, man, because you're like, back in the day, you're like, oh yeah, cool, new turbo, bang it on. Oh shit, I need this now. Oh shit, I need this now. Like,
you just do it.
Yeah, but
you just do it.
You do it because you're sort of optimistic in a way. Like, whereas now, to put the new turbo on my drift car, man, I'm like, yeah, it's needed a turbo for ages, but I know exactly what's involved in that now, and I'm like, not a chance.
Yeah.
I can do that. Like,
I'll make do because you know it,
Yeah.
like the benefits sort of aren't
because you know the
weighing-
reality.
Yeah.
Like, whereas back then you're like, yeah, cool, new turbo, heaps of power, like put it on. Then you're like, oh fuck, you don't realize how much it's going to cost and how much you have to do to get all that working.
I guess that's like a reason why I haven't done that Evo yet. It's like, I know I can do it and I know it can be done, but it's like when you think about the big picture, it's like if I just do the engine, it's like I know I can't just do the engine.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to need a gearbox, twin plate clutch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need to get the fucking transfer case, the diff done. And it's like the engine's out. Well, since it's out, it's like I've got rust in the engine bay.
Yeah.
I might as well strip the whole engine bay.
Yeah. Where do you
I
draw
might as
the
well
line?
repaint it. You know, the engine bay. I might as well strip the arse end, get all the rust done. And then it's like, oh, there's a few little niggles on the body. It's like my right-hand rear quarter, someone's hit it like way before I
I may
owned
as well
it.
do that. Yeah, before you know it.
There's
it's
a little bit
fucking-
of bog there. It's like I might as well send it to the panel. It's like, this is going to cost me 40 grand just by thinking about redoing the engine.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
It's probably an
I've just, like-
ADHD trait, like, because
Yeah.
I
bro, I'm
feel
fucking-
exactly the same.
yeah,
But one thing that helped me with that stuff anyway was like with drifting, it was like that 100%. It's like you're all in or nothing.
yeah,
And I was all in for a long time and I burnt myself out and I was like, man, I kind of seen that no matter how much you put in, it's very unlikely that you will be able to make a proper career out of it or, you know, make a living off it, you know?
yeah.
And I don't want to like dishearten anyone or anything like that, but I burnt myself out trying to do it and ended up taking, 4 or 5 years off because I'm like, well, what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
But now that I kind of came back to it with a clear mind and had obviously a lot of time to think about it. And what worked for me was like, I just put 10% of whatever I earn into a separate account and that's my drift money. And if that, if I need something, if that'll pay for it, that'll do it. If not, I'll wait till it can, and that it, just to simplify it for me, because there's so many situations, especially with cars, is like, oh, I need a gearbox, So it's like, I bought a new gearbox last year. I bought, a brand new Skyline box because mine, I just needed something and I didn't have enough in the budget to like convert the clutch and all that stuff. So I'm like, look, I know these are good. I know they're good for about 450, 500 horsepower. And back in the day, I never would have done that because I'm like, fuck that. I want to improve the car, not just make it the same. Like, but now I'm like, I know that'll work. And to put a dog box in it or a sequential is like, that's like
20 grand for a dog box.
Yeah, exactly. And then even then, man, there's probably stuff that you can't even account for because you don't know you need it yet, you know? But that mentality helped me a lot with drifting and cars because it just draws that line for me,
Yeah.
And the other thing that helped me with the Safiro is I'm bad for like, I'll get a car and go right over it sort of thing. Just like you just end up doing it with a drift car. There's so much maintenance and stuff that the whole car within a pretty short amount of time anyway, But I'd kind of put up a list in my head mentally of what I want to do to it, what I want to change and how would I improve this and blah, blah, blah. And before I knew it, I've designed a whole new car in my head. And
that rabbit hole. Like,
and again, that rabbit hole, man, you're like, oh, I need to pull the motor out to, I don't know, replace a sump seal or something. Like,
since I've got it out, I might as well fucking do this and this. And next thing you know, it's stripped down to nothing and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, and I don't want to put it back in until I buy a $20,000 dog box. And it's like, man,
5 years later, it's still
the reality is you'll never fucking drive it. Like, and
what's that? How we've said multiple times, getting stuck in that build stage.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
and I've
stuck
been
in
there,
that cycle, man.
and I've like tried so hard not to do it. And I've built simple cars, and then I've built not so simple cars, and then everything in between, sort of thing. And a lot of the times is like I'll get a car working and flawless and not have any problems anymore after so much time and effort's gone into it to figure out everything. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I want to change this and that and this. And by the time I convince myself, I'm like, well, I may as well sell this and start again, because realistically it's not worth selling, you know, an old secondhand turbo and all that shit. You're not going to get anything for it. So I may as well sell this, get the money for all that, and then just start again. But it's
start
like
fresh, and then you're just fucking
I made a
costing
rule,
you more.
Yeah, I made a rule before I bought the Safiro, because I knew, you know, all drift cars end up like that. You know, even if you've got the best one out there, 2 years goes by and everything else progresses, and it's hard for me to switch that part of my brain off. Like, not because I feel like I need an advantage or anything, but it's just it's probably back to that me trying to improve everything, you know? Oh, the car could be better if I did this. And it's not even about like winning or losing or getting an advantage. It's just like, why am I not doing that if that would make it better? Like, but with the Safira, I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to do one thing at a time until that's done. Yeah. And I'm only going to do that when I've got everything to do it, so I know I can drive it at all times. You know what I mean?
So that was sort of like the same situation with your dual caliper setup. You were like,
yeah, exactly.
You were like, oh, the handbrake works fine, but I've got the stuff here, I must do it. And then all of a sudden you were just like, this just ended up being way bigger and harder than it needed to be for no reason.
100%. And one rule, that rule helped me a lot anyway with the Safiro, is like, do one thing at a time, because I like you, man, I'd pull something out and replace everything while it's out. Yeah. And I wouldn't drive it again for ages. But like, if I don't know what an example is, like water pump and a timing belt while you're there, you know? Oh, I may as well do the cam gears. What cams can I put in
there? Put a cam in it. Might as well do the springs. But the valves. Better take the head off. Yeah. Get oversized valves. Yeah. Head gasket, head studs, and you're like, oh, bottom end's there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, while the motor's out. No.
Yeah, fuck.
But it's...
Because like, I could have just bought another fucking long block.
Yeah.
And slapped it in, and I would have had it running.
I think about all the best times I've had drifting, man, and it's always been with... It doesn't matter what you're driving. Like, it's always been a simple car that you can just thrash the shit out of all day.
And not stress about it.
Yeah. And it's like...
Once you start spending all this money, you get worried because you're like, fuck, if I break this to replace this, like you're saying, a dog box or a winter's quick change.
The Safiro rule that I started with, I just want to say it now because it helped me, it might help you. But I, just did a one thing at a time rule, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So... if I needed to fix something like subframe bushes or whatever, I'd pull it out, fix the subframe bushes, put it back in, and never do more than one thing. So it's running. I pull that one thing out, fix it, put it back, and it's running. You know. And then if I want to do the diff bushes and stuff, I'll do that next time. But I can drive it until then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I've just done the opposite now. But I think with the turbo setup, it's like you can't just do the turbo. You know, you need to do the tune and the injectors and.
That's a little bit more in depth, really.
But even then, that's the whole reason my car's not running. You know, it's running, but it's not on the track at the moment, is because I've put the turbo on there and I've had to change so much stuff. But I'm still considering, like, I've got the new ECU sitting there that ready to wire in, but I'm like, there's no point wiring it in until I get all the sensors, you know? So I'm like, maybe I should just get a tune with everything that's on it now, because it is ready to go apart from all that. Like,
but then you're paying for another tune.
Yeah,
and it's like, fuck, that's more money. But then at least the other side, you're driving it.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's been a year already since I've driven it, man. And I'm like, what? At the end of the day, man, a tune is what, like $500-600? Yeah. Especially if it's already got the tune. All I've changed is the turbo. There's probably not a lot to do.
Yeah, because it's the fuel map that like costs and takes the time. Yeah. It's like getting all the fuel fucking levels and whatever correct.
Yeah, but with the old ECU, and I found the problem that I had. And I fixed it just to prove that was a problem. I'm like, there's really no reason I couldn't run it as it is now. It just won't make any more power. I won't be able to use the turbo for how much it can make. But that's like, realistically, that's the whole thing we're talking about, isn't it? Like, sometimes you got to draw the line there, and 400 horsepower is enough. You know, at least it's working, rather than waiting 3 years to get new injectors and sensors to make fucking 500. You know, it's
an extra 50 horsepower.
Yeah, it's like.
But that could be the difference between winning and losing.
That's the thing. I'm like, I guess I'm just matured now, but it's like all that shit doesn't bother me anymore. Yeah. Right? It's like I want the only reason I want more power is to run more grip and drive the thing faster. Like it's not about winning or losing. It's just I want to be able to like put the grippiest setup in that I can and thrash the shit out of it, and the car not like
Yeah. I just want 600 horsepower in my Evo.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
That's the reason. Well, it used to be a hard goal, but now it's like, you know, E85 new turbos, man.
Sorted.
Yeah. And there's a recipe for it all now. Like it's
been done like a lot. Like these cars are fucking old, man.
Yeah.
Like
and everything's
been
so
around,
good now.
yeah.
Like, yeah, you look at bloody. I always wonder. Like, imagine if when the VLs came out, people knew how to tune them as good as they do now.
Oh yeah.
Like, imagine how untouchable those things would have been.
The old dirty 30.
An RB30 was 700 horsepower because you put different injectors, ECU, and a bloody turbo on it.
Yeah,
like,
sorted.
imagine that against a bloody Iron Line 5 litre fucking 185. See ya.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like there's so much R&D that has been done with these Jap cars now that like you think about these old carby boys, you know, 1,000 horsepower and their carbies, like you can't drive them on the street.
Yeah.
But then you got
But even
GDRs.
then, in every like section of that, there's so much improvement. Like even the carbies. Like yeah, I know what you're saying. Carbies are notoriously sort of for drivability and stuff is very hard to get right. But for some applications, they're good. But even the carbies now, like even the
carbies nowadays are
so
fucking
much better. Like you can get so much more out of a carby and so much more drivable than just the old school, I don't know, dump heaps of fuel in and wind the screws out till it works. Like it's even just being able to monitor it, you know, like that's one good thing about the ECUs and the sensors. Like even with a carby, you can run it perfectly with, you know, exhaust sensors, you know, like in each runner, or there's just so many ways to do things better now that
technology
it's become easy, I guess. Yeah.
ECUs have gotten a lot better. Like you can just, but people build engines and don't realize like you do need all these sensors to monitor everything to make sure it is spot on.
Man,
and that gets expensive.
I have this conversation a lot at work because, I work with a lot of good mechanics, and you know all of our trucks are Kenworth, so it's like the 79 series of the truck world. They're just like barbaric.
The bee's knees.
Well, there's just nothing. They're so simple that there's nothing to go wrong. You know, so personally, like 79's a good ute. In my opinion, they're very overpriced because they have fuck all stuff. You know, you have to wind your own windows up.
I work on them every day, bro.
Yeah, but
I think they're the most overrated fucking ute.
I agree, but like, because they're so simple, there's nothing that can go wrong, and that's what makes them good because they're reliable, you know. Price.
The engine's like tried and true, like it's basically
but they're just
every generation.
Even that, man, they've brought out the engine and like you can tune them and get double the power. That's how like safely tuned they are, and just everything. There's just nothing in them that can go wrong, you know. The Kenworths are the same, and we always have these like little issues with them. Like they're doing a lot of work and it's a hard environment. Like they are workhorses, you know, and they kind of have to be as simple as they can be for that reason. But we'll have like a boost sensor issue or something, or like limp mode is called derating. Like it's like there's just different terminology because
engineering.
Like I always say car words and everyone looks at me funny and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's like it's not an intercooler, it's a charged air cooler, you know, like same shit.
Yeah.
But long story short, like there's all these little problems, and I'm like in my head, I'm from like race cars with ECUs and sensors and stuff, and I'm like, well, just put this fucking sensor in there. It'll tell you exactly what you need to know. And they're like, no, fuck all that. You know, it's too hard. Like there's simple is good. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but like
to a point.
Yeah, but I'm like, if you need to know if there's a boost leak or the sensor's wrong, put a sensor in the turbo and a sensor in the intake manifold. It'll tell you if there's a boost leak. You know what I mean? And they're all kind of like,
there's a reason why there's a fucking O2 sensor before and after the cat.
Yeah. I think they're from like a lot of them are from just haven't used aftermarket ECUs, I guess. And standard ECUs are shit. Like not all of them, but
majority of them are just like just there to do it,
and they're so hard to use in that way that I think they're all kind of just write it off before it's even a thing. But I'm like, man, if you get an aftermarket ECU, just put whatever the sensors you want in there, and you can even get just fucking any display you want, run a CAN cable to it. It'll tell you everything you need to know. It'll data log it, because that's the other thing at work, man. We get drivers and then mechanics, like the drivers will say, oh, it's doing something wrong. And we're like, oh, it's got a boost issue. And we're like, what's the boost issue? And they're like, I don't know, man, it's got a boost issue. And we're like, too much, not enough. Like, what the fuck's it doing? And they can't tell you. So it's in the workshop and you're like, you can't really tell, you know, without loading it with 4 trailers full of fucking dirt and hauling up a hill, you can't really tell what it's doing. Like, and they don't let you do that. So I'm like, well, if we just had a data log, we could just see exactly what was doing. Like, but everyone's like, scared of it.
Yeah, because then it's the whole argument of, I hear it so many times, man. People are like, oh, new cars, mate. Oh, if there's an issue, you just put the scan tool on it and that'll fix it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it helps to a point. It points you in the right direction. But you still need to diagnose it and figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, all right, most cars will be like, all right, misfire. You still need to figure out why it's misfiring.
Yeah, it just gives you a better place to start. Like, say you got a boost issue and it's running heaps of boost. It's like, or not enough boost. It's like,
why is it overboosting or underboosting? We still need to diagnose.
A good
the
example.
issue.
It still means you need to work out whether it's leaking boost, leaking exhaust,
wastegate stuck open
turbine,
or stuck closed,
wastegate's broken,
not enough vacuum.
Like there's so many, you know, air filter restriction, or there's so many things that it could be. But at least you're not wasting your time because you've already got a good place to start. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. And after fucking, I don't want to say last season because I think I haven't missed a whole one yet. But yeah, last season with that issue that I had with my car, man, if I had a bloody boost sensor and like something to monitor, it would have told me straight away.
Yeah.
Like I've wasted 4 rounds last year because I had a fucking dodgy wire that I didn't know about. You know what I mean? And it's a very hard problem to find because when you check it, it's always working. And the minute you need it and you can't check it, it's failing. Like, and you're like, what the fuck is it? I just thought it was that, CAS wire. I didn't even realize that the boost controller was off the same wire, you know? But if I had a data log ECU, I could have just looked on any time,
plug the laptop in and check the fucking.
That's weird. 7 psi, like it should be on 17.
Yeah,
I would have been like, okay,
that's a big difference too,
here.
by the way.
Yeah, 100%. Just little things like that. More so, I look at it like a better way to learn about it rather than, oh, this is going to make the difference. Like, no, it's going to give me more information, and then I can learn more from that information. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like Motive DVD, Andrew Hawkins, like he explains it so well when he does all these GDRs. It's like the more data you have, the better it is for you just in general, man. Like,
yeah.
You can run it. You can run the car as hard or easy as you want.
Yeah.
And you have every fucking ounce of information you can just to be like, this is the issue. This is how we fix it. Even preventative, like prevent it from fucking
or you can even
blowing
see
up.
like, and that's another thing with the good ECUs, man. You don't need like. You can put alarms on it instead of watching 127 gauges. Like it's like just tell me when something's wrong because you can't watch them all and drive at the same time.
And plus, when you think about it, like our brains are pretty fucking slow compared to an ECU.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden your oil pressure dips, your car can legit just, if you've got an electronic throttle,
bro, there's no
it can just
way.
shut the throttle and be like, no more, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
and you can preset all that. Like that's the benefit of it. Like if my oil pressure gets to this, turn my fucking engine off, and it's like, yep, got it. Like,
or it's simple as when you start your car, you are not allowed to go full throttle or over 50% throttle until it reaches a certain temperature.
Yeah. No, there's all these benefits, but I think they're all kind of thrown in with like a sensor on a standard car will throw it into limp mode, and that's how they think of all the ECUs. And I'm like, nah, man. Like it's with a good ECU and all these sensors and stuff. It's like there's no real downside. If that sensor stops fucking working, you just don't get a readout, man. It's like you don't have to, unless you've set it to oil pressure or something. But realistically, you'd want if you didn't have a good ECU, if you had a mechanical gauge and that sensor broke, you wouldn't start your fucking engine anyway, would you? Like you can program it to do whatever you want, and if you lose that sensor or there's a problem with it, I think they think it's just going to go straight to limp mode and it's going to be more trouble than it's worth. But I'm like, nothing bad happens, man. It's like it's just more information, like you say, and the downside is just the cost, really.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only 2 sensors that would sort, or 3, I'd say, that would stop a car running: cam, crank, and airflow meter.
Yeah, and that's just because that's controlling the mechanicals.
Yes.
Like it's
and
that's going to happen whether you got an ECU or that is a fucking points on a dizzy. Like Yeah.
So I mean, like everything outside of that is just more information that you can use
at
your disposal.
And even the breathing issue that I still haven't figured out. If that's part of the reason I bought the ECU is like if I just get a pressure sensor, put it in my covers, I can read, I can change something and read how much difference it makes. Like, because you run them blind.
I think you just need to go dry something, bro. That'll fix it.
If I could, I would.
Dry something will fix it, bro.
It would, yeah.
It's only a couple bucks.
Yeah. I've been going down a rabbit hole with that, just researching it. Like, obviously, I know that it's the best thing to do, but I'm like,
fuck yeah,
I can't
but
figure out
man,
why
that's
they're
so
expensive. I'm like, I just don't. I'm like, it's a fucking,
it's a scavenge pump with a bunch of lines and a fucking tank
and a fucking flat. I'm like, where's the rest of the money going? Like, I don't understand. And I get it. You want quality shit because that's a very important thing to make sure
billet
it's good,
sump and I mean, I guess those lines aren't fucking cheap. Those scavenge pumps, they're fucking.
And there's actually a lot more in it. Like the tank is like a swirl pot. So
yeah, it's not just like it just dumps fucking oil into a pot and then it just sucks it out.
Because one of the guys said that at work,
because it's designed to take the air out of the fucking oil
trying to do this to prevent oiling issues, not make more. But that's the thing with those trucks and shit. Like that's what I'm saying. They're so simple that you can do shit like that, and because they're so like purpose built and they're not highly strung, like you do shit like that and it'll work. It's like just do this, but it's not taking into account all the other variables of motorsport. It's very different. It's like hold it at one rev and pull as much as you can. That's all it's got to do. Like it's just
got to hold a lot of fucking tons, man.
Yeah, and they do work hard, but it's still a very simple bloody engine's working good and it drives all these wheels and that's all that needs to happen. Like it's not fucking
A to B.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking hell. So you've been FIFO now, eh?
Yeah, I went back to FIFO, man, after I'm not sure if I was spray painting last time I came on the podcast.
To be honest, I can't remember, man.
Neither can I, but that was the job I was doing before FIFO because, I found a job that paid good enough to not go FIFO pretty much. But it ended up being a shit job. And I was like, fuck it, FIFO's better than this shit. So I went back to FIFO.
2-on-1s, I mean, 2-on-1s ain't that bad.
Nah, it's pretty good. It's just, it sucks when, like, usually 2-on-1 has the benefit of having a bit of extra money and that's what offsets all the negatives, but it's like in this day and age, man, it's
everything.
You do 2-on-1, you come home and you can't even afford anything anyway. It's fucked.
Yeah, pretty much. It's getting fucking ridiculous, man. Like people are like, oh, food and fuel's gone up, but it's like when you take into account like everything's gone up. Like I'm on the Snap-on the truck, man, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Like how much is this torque wrench? Like I don't need a fucking Snap-on torque wrench. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, that one's about $1,900. And I'm like, are you fucking for real for a fucking half-inch torque wrench? And I'm like, man, when I was a second year, like they were only $1,000.
Yeah.
So you're telling me in the 10 years they've doubled the price and it's the same product. I'm like,
and the wage has gone up 10% or whatever it is.
Nothing.
Like,
like my Blue Point ratchets, man. Like my metric Blue Point ratchets. I bought them when I was a first year for, I think it was $300. They want $600 now, man.
I got a shock last because I've had like a bunch of Blue Point Snap-on stuff that's been broken in my toolbox since I like left a workshop, that the Snap-on truck comes to.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get that fucking sorted. So I kind of threw together like a toolbox to take to work because technically I shouldn't even have one because I'm a TA.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just hate not being able to do, like if I have a toolbox, you can just give me a job and I can just go fucking do it. Like, and I hate not being self-sufficient, I guess, or borrowing tools or all that shit. So I just threw together one like that out of all the tools that were kind of not used at home, just like doubles of everything and just, anyway. Sorted out all the Snap-on stuff that was broken and went and met up with him and I asked about a few things. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, I was expecting like $200 and it was like $900. Yeah, and I'm like, fuck me, man. Like I know Snap-on's always been expensive, but it's like
it's ridiculous.
It was like
ridiculous now, man.
Yeah, it was like another like 25% maybe on another brand, but you know it's good. And like I still have all the tools that I've bought from Snap-on, and I don't regret buying any of them, But like some of the shit, I'm just like, there's just I cannot see the what's the word? Like
you can't justify it.
Yeah, that's it.
Like a fucking 1/4 inch ratchet.
Yeah.
Like their torque wrench. They're like, yeah, this is like, I think it was like $1,200. I'm like, quarter inch.
Yeah.
I was like,
What are you going to 12 newton meters with that?
yeah,
Like,
what the fuck?
yeah.
Like my pro bars, like I bought them when I was a second year for like $300, and now they're over 600.
Yeah, I needed some
it's a
big pry
piece of
bars.
metal with fucking plastic on the
Yeah.
end.
I need some
What do
big
you
pry
mean?
bars for the trucks because like that's one thing I don't have is like it's all big shit, you know, and
Yeah.
I've got like half inches the biggest stuff I got, you know. And I was like, yeah, I might get a nice set of pry bars. Like it'd be handy no matter what I do. So I got a price and there's like a set of 3 or 4 or something, and it's like, yeah, they're 900. I'm like, what? What?
But you get the really big one for free.
Or you get nah.
And a free
and
hat.
then the big one was like fucking. It was like $500 just for one,
Fuck.
and I'm like,
It's ridiculous,
not
man.
a fucking chance. Like
I'm on the Snap-on truck like every Friday, and I'm like, oh yeah, how much is this? And then he just tells me the price, and I just go, man.
see ya.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, you actually get suckers that actually buy.
The only thing I like about, and it doesn't work unless you work at a shop with Snap-on trucks come every week.
Yeah.
But the best
Interest-free
thing I
payment.
liked, I'd set myself $50 a week budget for tools. You know,
That's it. Yeah.
And the best thing about that was when I finally had all the tools that I actually needed, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just pick the thing I want the most next, you know, and just budget $50, and you eventually get, you know, a lot of good tools, and they do come in handy, even though you didn't think you needed them, you know.
100%.
But that's like that enjoyment I was talking about before, man. If you own your own business, imagine like starting a mechanical shop, and you do need that shit, man. You need torque wrenches. Like if you're going to be rebuilding engines
100%.
and all that stuff, it's like, yeah, you need good shit. You need stuff you can trust, and you know, something as simple as that. If it's not calibrated right, man, you could pull a fucking bolt out of a rod. Like it's shit that you need, and you shouldn't have to be pulling out of your own pocket to pay for the shit to work. You know what I mean? It's like, I get that it's part of it. You have to buy tools, but it's like, it shouldn't mean all your spare money goes to just being able
tools,
to work.
Yeah. I mean, I froth over fucking tools, man. I've got a hard on. Do you know how many fucking Snap-on torches I have? Every time Snap-on releases a torch, I have to buy it. And like my mates are going, bro, why'd you buy that? And I'm like, I honestly have no fucking idea. Something about me and torches is fucking unreal. Like I have
actually
3 of the same torch. One's the medium, a small, and then the big, just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And then I have another Snap-on one.
Set.
Yeah, I know. And then I have so many torches. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me, bro? Like, I just got such a hard on for fucking tools, man. It doesn't have to be Snap-on, but I think some of the things that Snap-on do is just fucking ridiculous. Like, for me, their electrical stuff is, don't get me wrong, it's powerful and it's good, but
it used to be the best, but now
I think they're junk. Like, you get, for a fucking rattle gun with one battery and a charger, you're looking at $1,000.
Yeah.
Or you could go Milwaukee, right?
still $1,000, but it's probably
It's still $1,000, but hold up. But $1,000 gets you a skin, a charger, 2 batteries, another skin. You could get an angle grinder, a drill, rattle gun, 2 batteries, a charger, 5-year warranty on the skin, and 3-year warranty on the battery. Like,
what pissed me off about Snap-on electric stuff, because
1 year, bro. That's all you get.
Yeah, but when I was an apprentice, I reckon they would have been the best, like cordless shit.
Yeah.
Because it was that or Ryobi pretty much, or fucking
back in the day, that was it.
like roof carpentry stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Makita was like real, like the biggest back
I'm
then.
sure they're good tools, but they're not good for automotive, you know. But now Milwaukee just has the game by the balls, and I'm a big fanboy. I'll admit
I
it.
bleed red, bro. I
Yeah.
bleed red.
Yeah.
Everything in my toolbox is Milwaukee.
I got a bloody heated jacket the other day.
Oh,
Red, white, and blue,
luxury,
baby. I was like,
luxury.
hell yeah, brother. Got the damn finest colors ever.
I got so much Milwaukee shit, man. I'm just like, I really don't need this. Like, I want to buy the leaf blower, the one that takes the dual battery.
Blow the shit out of them leaves.
Fuck yeah. I want it to, when I like wash cars, you just blow off the water instead of shamming
Just
it.
put the hose on the car just to do it. Eh?
Yeah. And I'm like, man, am I really going to spend like $800 on this kit just to blow water?
I'm not going to buy a fucking Ryobi one. Nah, I've got 3 things saved in my cart right now because I don't need them, but I want them.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
like,
know, bro.
Don't do it.
The right angle drill, the Dremel.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck.
No, there's actually good deals. What is it? There's, if you buy a set of hole saws, it comes with a recip saw for the, what's it, Redemption?
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty good deal, and I do kind of need some hole saws. And then the other one, yeah, if you buy, like the Christmas tree bloody,
Yes, drill bit.
yeah, what are they called?
I don't know. Step bit?
Step bits, yeah. You buy a set of 3 of them and it comes with an M12 quarter-inch impact gun. And I'm like,
Ooh.
I want that. And I'm like, do I need that? No.
Yes.
I've got, yeah.
Yes, you do,
I'm like,
bro.
I've got an impact, but it is M18. It's a bit big for something.
Yeah, it's not good for just doing under trays and
Yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
that-
Like
yeah.
cover bolts.
And you convince yourself into it every time. And I'm like,
I have 3 side ratchets from Milwaukee.
there you go.
I have the old school brushed one that's like hell slow.
I've got the fuel one. It must be the one after that.
that's the brushless. I have that one, but that's like a bit chunky.
Yeah, okay.
And then I was like, oh, the head's just a little bit too big. So I bought the long extended one with a really
through
skinny
ratchet?
head. No, not the through ratchet. I'm not a big fan of that.
What do you mean?
I don't. It makes them a bit shorter, but that's about it.
don't
So I have the
wanna
long
say
one.
The positives because I'll probably make you spend more money, but
Yeah, nah. And then I was like, fuck. And I've got the 3/4 inch rattle gun that's 2,000 newton meters.
yeah.
I've got 2 mid torques and I've got 4 low torques. Don't ask me why, but I do. I got 2 drills. I got carpentry shit as well, man. Hole saws and shit just for the sake of it. I'm like, why?
I had a whole bunch of Ryobi shit before I got Milwaukee stuff.
Yeah. Junk, eh?
It's good if you don't like.
They're good for like your home stuff, like every now and
if you're
then.
not working on cars
tinkering.
every day,
Yeah.
and you need some like tools that'll do the job, they're good. But I had like a recip saw and like all this shit, and Milwaukee, that stuff is expensive, but
Yeah.
it's good, But long story short, I had all this Ryobi shit and I gave it all to Dad, except I had like a few things left over because, I didn't want to go spend heaps of money on something I didn't use much. One of them was a recip saw and it did work well from when I used it. But I didn't want to have a separate charger and batteries and all that shit. I'm like, I'm just going to get rid of that and buy the one tool that I need from Milwaukee to replace it. Because once you got the batteries, the skins aren't that much.
Yeah.
But I bought this recip saw and I've used it like 3 fucking times and it was like fucking expensive. It was like $600 or something. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to get the small one.
What's the saw? The one that just goes up and down?
Yeah, the reciprocating saw.
That one. Sorry.
The
Yeah.
recip.
I bought that as well for just a specific job. I was trying to undo a control arm. bolt,
Yeah.
And you couldn't get a grinder into it. So I was like, I'll buy this. And then I bought X amount of blades. And I was just sitting there for fucking hours trying to cut through it. And now I just use it to cut up fucking 20-litre oil drums to make them into trays.
Mine still looks brand new.
Same. I'm like, it just sits in my toolbox. I'm like, wow, fucking.
It's one of those things though. I'm like, I can't not have one because I need it every now and then. But I'm like, it's not worth $600 to me. But
I
at the
look
same
at it
time,
and I just go, fuck,
the other
why
thing
don't I buy that?
I bought was when I was doing construction. They had like, you finish a contract and it might be like a month or 2 before you go to the next job because and they were like, oh, do you want to work in the warehouse for a couple of weeks? I was like, yeah, I may as well. Like, it's money coming in. I'm not doing anything. So, yeah. And long story short, they send these containers of tools to each job and then they come back and they pull them all apart, take them all out, restock everything and see what they got. And they had all these bloody grinding discs and stuff. And they're like, throw them out. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, throw them out. We can't take the risk just in case they've been wet or something. And I'm like,
fuck, I'll take
because if they've been in the rain,
Yeah.
then they can explode, I guess. And I'm like, I get it, but I'm like, it seems like such a waste. And I was like, if we throw them out, is it all good if I take a couple home? And they're like, we're not allowed to tell you can. And I was like, got it. So
wicked in the back of the truck. Let's go.
I took like a lifetime supply of like 7-inch cutting discs home, and I'm like, now I've got an excuse to buy that new grinder.
The 7-inch grinder.
Yeah, which is a 7 and a 9.
Yeah, because
it has to be legal, which is 7. But that was like $600 or something. But it is
they're not allowed to do the 9s anymore because they're too big. But even though they have the same motor as the 7,
it's exactly the same grinder. It's just got a different cover for the 9-inch. Anyway,
yeah.
But I bought that. And that was fucking expensive, but the same thing, I'm like, well, at least I kind of paid for it with the lifetime supply of discs, so it makes sense. But I've used that like twice as well. But it is one of those things when you need it, you need it. Like
having that grinder, like if you're a fabricator, I get it. You won't be buying the cordless grinder because they're not good. But I mean, for people like me who just like grind shit down every now and then, those Milwaukee grinders, they're fucking fantastic.
Man, I reckon I do a fair bit of fabrication stuff, like making my own,
you do a fuckload more than me, that's for sure.
And the cordless stuff, it wasn't until I was working with the Boilermakers and I'm like, well, you guys reckon they're not as good? And they're like, nah, they're not. And I'm like, kind of like, oh, they're just snobs, you know. But if you're actually doing like grinding, like
Actual
I can-
boiler making shit.
Yeah,
you,
like,
yeah, you
if you're
notice
cutting
it.
real thick plate or grinding, yeah, you do notice it. But like for most shit on a car, it's probably
Sheet metal, bro.
Like a chassis is 2 mil thick.
Yeah.
The difference is not noticeable between a battery grinder and a bloody plug-in grinder. But like, I made something the other day, and I had to grind a fair bit of shit, you know. And yeah, I plugged my 240 volt one in, but like. For most things, man, it's just so much more convenient just to grab a
100%.
battery, bang it in, and like it takes you less time to cut through it than it would to roll out an extension lead. So it's like,
yeah, just quickly just put a battery in it.
yeah,
Done.
yeah.
I fucking love tools, man. It's like my kryptonite, eh?
Oh, I forgot to mention the other one before I forget. Wait, did I? Yeah, the wholesale one, which comes with the reset,
Yeah.
and then the step bit one, which comes with the little impact gun.
Yeah.
But I've almost convinced myself of that, even though every time I think about it,
I have an
don't
impact one
need
as
that.
well.
I've got the M18 one.
That's the one that they use for fucking like,
like a tech
screw.
gun.
Tech
Yeah,
gun. Yeah, I got one of them. I never use it. It's just in my drawer. I don't know why I
Yeah.
have it.
I
It's
think
just
I
in
got
case my
one-
3.8 shits itself.
Yeah. Just yeah. No, I got one. It came with a pack with something else, the M18 stuff, and I'm like, it is good. I use it at home for like drilling into brick and shit because it's not a hammer drill, but it's does that.
What I've noticed with electric tools though is as soon as you put an extension on them, they just lose all torque.
Yeah.
But air guns, extensions don't even bother them.
You know what it is?
It's the hammer that's in it. It's
the speed.
Yeah.
Because like you have the inertia of everything going, and it's not like stopping and starting, and all that flex is getting taken up.
Yeah.
But
still,
yeah.
you just get a fucking big bar on it, crack it, then you get the gun.
Yeah. I think I told Dad this the other day. I'm like, yeah, because he was doing something with an extension, it wouldn't do it. And I was like, yeah, I took it off, bang, done it. And he's like, what the fuck? And I was like, 100%. If you can't crack it with an extension, take it off, put the socket on the rattle gun, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a lot more powerful because you lose all that
twist,
torque and the flex, And I guess when you first learn it, you're like, what the fuck? But
Yeah.
makes sense.
There's one thing that like annoys me with like Makita, Milwaukee and all that is the reason why Snap-on does so well is because they come to you
Yeah.
and then it doesn't matter what you
convenient.
buy, it's $50 a week.
Yep.
But let's say for the average mechanic that's living paycheck to paycheck, they're not going to go to Sydney Tools or wherever,
Yeah,
Total
yeah.
Tools, and go, here's $1,200 straight off the bat,
Yeah,
or
put
set up
$50 a
Zip
week
Pay
aside,
or
yeah.
PayPal and buy it. But if they just had a fucking van,
Yeah. Man, I thought about this fucking today because
Bro.
I'm like, that's one thing I miss is being, like I said before, the $50 a week. And
Yeah.
I've got all the tools I want, and the next thing I want the most gets bought next, But like cordless tools are fucking expensive.
yeah,
like,
man. So if they just did that, they just got like Sydney Tools got a van. They didn't have to put everything on there, but it was like, hey,
Fuck,
if you-
even if they said same shit, man. Just
if
give
you
the catalog,
give us
like, what do you
$50,
want?
what do you want? Sign up an account, interest free, $50 a week every Friday or whatever. They'd make a fucking killing.
I would
man.
have fucking twice the amount of tools.
Oh, bro.
if I could.
I'd
do
have
that.
I'd have a bigger toolbox. Like
Yeah.
the amount of times I've gone on to
Yeah,
the
because it's the
Snap-on truck.
expensive stuff that you're like, I don't need it that bad. But like, if it was $50 a week, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Like,
Yeah, who gives a shit?
yeah.
$1,200, but $50 a week spread over X amount. It's like, I can justify
'cause
that.
yeah. Well, when I was earning good money, it is a lot more easy to spend. I would buy those big things, like no worries, because I knew it was cheaper. Like if I spend the money now, but it's because I didn't have to worry about what was going to happen next week. I already had a big bunch of savings if
Yeah,
something happened.
didn't matter.
But it's like when you're paycheck to paycheck, it's like.
$50 is all right. You can let
Yeah.
it slide. Like even 100, it's like, I'll let that slide
Yeah.
for tools for my job.
And I've never regretted buying any sort of tool, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's a lot easier to.
It's a lot easier to justify it when you're doing it in
when
small
it's $50
payments.
a week, and
Yeah.
then you're like, it's actually worth it because you might use it
Interest-free
once a
loan,
week,
bro.
but it's like, that was worth $50 for the time it's
Yeah.
paying for, but you end up with good tools and they're always handy. I've never regretted buying good tools.
Yeah, I bought I think it was probably like 6-7 years ago. I bought an SP toolbox with like the side thing. So it's like the one that's like the real long drawers and it's really deep. And I have tools on top of tools. Like
Yeah.
I've got no space left. Like I can't buy anything else anymore because it's legit. I got nowhere to put it. So every time I'm on the Snap-on truck, man, I'm like, fuck, I really want this. And it's like, yeah, if you can have it for 10 grand.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
man, you
nope.
want me to spend 10? I could legit buy a fucking car
Yeah, legit.
for the
When
same price that you
yeah.
want are just a box.
I actually made
nothing
one,
in it
the other day because same like I was saying before, I don't need a toolbox at work, but
Yeah.
I just hate not being able to do shit. Like, and I found these like little locker boxes on Marketplace, and it was like 3 for $60, and
Yeah.
because they're open workshops, like they're open, both sides, so road trains can go through, obviously, and it's dusty and shitty, so everything gets covered in shit. But I'm like, I have like 2 lockers or like shit for. And everything's huge, like, a pry bar or breaker bar is like fucking 12.
It won't just fit in a normal SP box.
So I just like got these 2 boxes and bought wheels from Bunnings, and it was like just over $100 to make, the bottom box sort of thing, and it does the job, but that's
Hold up,
thing.
but can you put a truck on top of it like Snap-on can they?
If I put it in the pit and support the truck, I reckon that'd be sweet.
I mean, like that's the only thing that they're like their biggest seller is like you go on their truck and then you see all their Snap-on toolboxes and then there's like a picture and
this
then
thing's
there's
exactly
a truck.
the same, and
And
it's
I'm
like,
like,
yeah, but couldn't hold a truck. And you're like, when the fuck am I going to need to hold a truck with my toolbox, man?
Oh, bro, it's unreal, eh? Like
That's one thing I could never justify is like, because like,
but
yes,
you want the cred, bro. You want the cred of being the best mechanic with Gucci.
maybe I'm just old and mature and fucking.
Yeah. I'll stick to my SP toolbox.
I look
that
at someone
I bought
with a
for
Snap-on box
$1,000.
and I'm like, you fucking idiot. Like, what? I don't understand.
When I see first years coming off the truck with their $2,000 fucking torque wrenches, I'm like, brother, you're going to be using that just to torque up fucking wheel nuts that you don't even need to use because you're using a rattle gun on it, which is over torquing the wheels anyway.
You're probably not even going to set it. You just torque wrench.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, bro, just.
No, I reckon that $50 a week worked good for me anyway, because it does like, it forces you to think about what you want next as well, rather than just like
it's like,
buying.
I'll get my bill down to a couple hundred and then I'll buy the next thing that I want.
Yeah, what do I want? Like, what do I need the most?
Screwdrivers. Oh man, I fucked up and bought the Snap-on screwdrivers. That was $650. But I had like, I've just accumulated so much like random screwdrivers. Like you just all the time you're like, where the fuck did this like crusty old screwdriver come from? And they were like, for every screwdriver that isn't Snap-on that you trade in, we'll take $10 off.
Oh, really?
So I was just, they're like, the limit's like 15 or something.
Yeah,
so I was like, $150 off. So
Steal all the ones out of the bloody spare wheel thing.
I mean,
Awkward.
no comment. Yeah, so I just traded in a bunch of old shitty crusty ones and some ones that I may or may not have found. And it was $150 off, but like still, man, I remember using it once and it snapped and I was like, this is a fucking Snap-on screwdriver. I snapped straight away. I was like, my KC ones that I got for free when I was a first year have never broken. Yeah. But yet my Snap-on screwdriver has broken.
Like with they wear how easy, the Snap-on ones.
Yeah, man.
I think
they're not even magnetized.
Yeah.
You got to buy the fucking magnetizing tool to magnetize them yourself. I was like, what? I was like, I'm paying $650 for a fucking Snap-on screwdriver set and I have to buy another tool to magnetize them myself. I mean, I could just buy something else, but I was like, what?
I still have I bought a set of screwdrivers when I was an apprentice and it was like $275 for must have been 6 or 7 or something. And I still reckon they're the best screwdrivers you can get, but they wear, and once they wear, they fucked. And also, like, don't ever try to
never use them as a pry bar. They snap.
I reckon they must be like some weird sort of steel because they got that like spring in them, eh? Like if you put the spanner on the end and it'll like pop screws that other screwdrivers won't, but
they've got a bit of twist in them, you know?
Yeah, and then
that
kind of
inertia or whatever
pops
the fuck's
back, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's why you just buy an impact screwdriver, but...
Yeah, but that was before they were fucking common, you know? Now it's like, why the fuck would I use that thing? Manual labor.
Yeah. You just get the old, you just put it on there, twist it, and then hit the end with a hammer, bro.
Yeah. Or just get the one that you put on the rattle gun, eh?
Fuck, I could talk forever about tools, man. So, Trev, what sort of tools do you like?
Yeah. Give us
I have absolutely fucking nothing. Nothing at all.
One thing.
No space.
Like, fair enough if you don't have space and stuff, but like my mate is an apprentice. He's a mechanic, but he like didn't finish his apprenticeship, so now he's doing it at another place. But long story short, he's like the same age as me and has been working on cars his whole life. And every time I go to help him with his, I'm like, where the fuck are your tools?
Oh,
He's
bro.
like, what do you mean? And I'm like, dude, like, I'm not doing this.
No.
I'll go home and get my whole toolbox rather than look through your shitty things. Like one of those, like you open the drawer and there's just loose sockets
It's a
everywhere.
tackle box.
And I'm like, man. Like,
One of those ones where like it steps out and you're
Yeah.
just like, fuck's sakes.
fuck it, I'm going to call him out. Shout out to Lucas.
Yeah. Fuck you, Lucas.
Get some tools, you dog.
You cheap fuck.
Yeah.
Nah, I hate that when everyone's like, well, someone's like, hey man, come around. I've got all the tools you need.
Yeah.
And I get there and I'm like, bro, you have nothing. Like, what do you mean? I should have just brought everything. Like,
Yeah,
I'd
but
rather
they're like-
spend half an hour packing up my
I do
toolbox and
now,
bring it to
whenever I help Lucas, whenever he's like, oh, come around, I'm like, yeah, cool. I'll be an hour. I just got to pack my whole fucking,
you. Pack my life, eh?
yeah, pack my shed into my ute.
It's like, I'm not like a snob when it comes to tools, but like
I
after
just hate
using
looking for shit, man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I'm like, I'm pretty anal with like where my tools are, but it's genuinely
Everything has a
because
place,
I fucking
bro.
hate looking for things. And if I know where it's meant to be, I know when it's not there. And
After going from a 92 tooth fucking snap-on ratchet to a KC like 50 tooth, I'm like, nah, I can't deal with it, bro. I can't deal
get
with
it
it.
off my hand.
Just fucking nah.
Yeah. I bought a anyway. We could go on for hours.
Oh, bro.
Start a tool podcast.
Oh, man.
I know, right?
That's actually an idea I've genuinely had just before we
Just
we
talk.
need
Just review new
you know
tools that
Hamish
come
and
out.
Andy,
Yeah.
where they have the bell when it's like when you guys want me to shut the fuck up, you just ring the
Ding,
bell.
ding, ding, ding.
All right.
I got the Milwaukee under the bonnet fucking the light. Oh man, I had a look at the Snap-on one, and I was just like, why is it so fucking bulky? And why is it like 3 times the price?
Just before
Sorry.
we move on, I had Snap-on cordless tools, and the thing that pissed me off about them was like,
I don't like the
tool you
trigger
got-
delay.
Yeah, every tool you got had a different battery setup and a different charger. I'm like, nah, not doing it.
Done. They're rattle guns. I hate that trigger delay.
I hate
You press it
yeah.
and it's just like it winds up. I'm like, with Milwaukee, you press it and boom,
Yeah.
it's gone, bros.
like a fucking triple Weber, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Got that response.
Oh yeah, okay. So
give
yeah,
us
you
a-
haven't fucking drifted your car in a minute. That's
Yeah.
sad.
Oh, and another thing before I fucking forget, because I forgot last time, the Veersma thing.
Oh, yeah. I was going to
I was
bring
like-
that up.
I even wrote it in my notes because I'm like, don't forget. But
Wrote it in your notes. Fuck.
yeah, which was the thing about writing in your notes is you need to remember to check your notes.
Yeah.
Nah,
Luckily, you can write. I can't.
I can't spell potato
They can read as well.
sometimes. Nah, because it was obviously a bit of a mess last time. What I was trying to clarify was at Drift Kingz, I called him out. I'll tell the whole story because fuck it.
Yeah, you might as well.
Go
eh?
on, fuck
That's
it.
what podcasts are for, isn't it?
No one's upset at you from the first story that you told. So
Nah, I know no one's
it's weighing
upset
on
at
your
me,
conscience,
but
is it?
yeah, it is. But not because anyone thinks anything of me. It's just because I didn't realize at the time. But I'm like, I'll just tell the story because okay, Drift Kingz, whenever the fuck it was, I can't remember, but I think I got top 4 in the first day, and it was a 2-day event, and Veersma won on the first day. So to win, well, it was like a 2-day event with prizes on each day and a prize for the whole event, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got top 4, which was equal to 3 because just the way the event was. And then I can't remember who got second. I think it was, I can't remember, but it's on my YouTube anyway, if you care that much. But I know Veersma won and I got top 4, which was, third and fourth. Then the next day, it kind of clicked that to beat Veersma with points was possible if I knocked him out in the top 8 or
Yeah.
whenever it was.
Just
So-
because of the way it tallied up.
yeah, so if he got knocked out in the top 8, that means he can't progress on to top 4 and get the points, from first to fourth. So it kind of clicked a little bit late in the day, and I was like, I'm going to have to beat him if I want to win anyway. So I may as well try and do it in the top 8, and that way, if I do beat him and I'm good enough to win the second day, that means I win the whole event.
Yeah.
I'd rather beat him than for first and second, and then he still wins the event.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty cool event. I wish there was more of them, but there was like a driver's circle, I guess, and they kind of like hyped the crowd up and stuff and got everyone involved, which is like, it sounds a bit like dramatic, you know what I mean? But it's what Drift needs. Drift needs something to entertain people that aren't diehard Drift fans, you know what I mean? They need something to watch, and like the more the better, in my opinion. So, you know, they had the cameras and the microphones and stuff, and like they kind of got all the drivers together before the competition actually started. Like,
builds up the rivalry.
Yeah, yeah. And like it you know, has a storyline, I guess, for the people that are just there for entertainment, which is what we need.
Which is the whole point in drifting.
Exactly. And, you know, the more bloody spectators, the more sponsor interest, all that stuff. So, yeah, we like got all the drivers together and they're like, any call outs, and kind of like G'ing it up a bit, you know? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll call out. And then, so, you know, big spectacle. And then I said to Veersma pretty much like, yeah, I'll call you out. And he knew I was going to do it, eh? He's like looking at me before. He's like, don't do it, don't do it. And I'm like,
I'll smoke you, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. And anyway, I called him out and I said, because I felt like a little bit bad, but I was like, may the best man win. He's not going to back down from any competition. And I'm like, I'm happy to give it a red hot crack as well, you know? So I knew it wasn't going to be offensive or anything, but I'm like, called him out, and he was kind of like disheartened that I called him out, I guess. And to try and like settle it, I was like, hey, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I didn't realize until after, but a lot of people probably thought I was talking about me being the best.
Oh, instead of the other way around.
What I was saying was like, you're the best, and to win, I've got to beat you. That's like, that's the only thing I wanted to clarify, because I didn't realize until later on that fuck me, I can't even talk. Trying to clarify and I can't talk.
Everyone thought you were talking about yourself being the best.
I don't know if they did or not, but
it
it didn't occur to me until later that everybody probably thought that I thought I was the best. And I'm like, that is definitely not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say like, you're the best and I'm going to try and beat you, and there's no shame in that. You know what I mean? So just to clarify that one, shout out to Veersma. They always
feel better now, bro, that you got that off your chest. Like, how many years has it been? It's been weighing on your conscience.
It wasn't even weighing on my conscience that much. I think
I'm a piece of shit, man.
I'm pretty sure
he's been on meds ever since that day.
He hasn't slept since the last podcast.
Me forgetting to bring it up has been on my conscience just as much, so I'm glad it's gone.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Nah,
Luke, after the show, Luke did say you were a piece of shit.
Yeah, fair call, really.
Nah.
Anytime we see him, it's just like, oh, that fucking piece
hey,
of
man,
shit.
how are you? Danny's a piece of shit.
I'll kill that guy.
Nah, they're always like, I got a lot of time for them guys, though. They're always super fair, and the thing I like best about them is like, there's no bullshit, but like they're not going to hide their feelings, but they're not going to they're always happy to have a fair crack, and whatever happens, you know. And we both kind of have that unspoken agreement. It's like we both know we're giving it our all. Like, there's no excuses.
But that's the way it should be, man.
Yeah, like, and there's no reason we can't still be friends after that, because we're both here for the same thing. It's not like, fuck you, I want to beat you. It's like, man, I'm going to do my best, and I know you're going to do your best. And it's like, like at the end of the day, we're both happy as long as we did our best. Like, as long as there was no mechanical failure, or as long as there's no, like, I'm more upset at myself if I make an error than if someone beats me and I did my best. I'll still go home happy, you know. If I did my best and I know I did, and someone beats me, I'm like, yeah, cool. I did everything I can. Like, but I think a lot of people in competition kind of, I guess everyone else kind of amps it up as well, you know. Like, if someone has a rival, I guess, whether it's, you know, a friendly rival or not, like you come up against them a few times and you're both pretty, like, you know, you might win one times or they beat you more than other times. Like, everyone else just assumes you hate that guy, you know. And it's like, it's not like,
it's not necessarily the case.
I don't hate anyone at Drift, but I'm never going to pull any punches either, you know. And I think that should be the way it is. It's
No, it was because what one did we go to? That was round two. Yeah, round two was sick. Like, Kwinana, seeing Luke down there going hard as fuck. Like, you could sort of see him in like some of the top 32, like the top 32 and top 16. You could see him just like sort of toying with the person he was battling, and you're just like, fuck, man, you were bullying that guy, bro. Just like, you know, he's just, you're like, oh,
that's, if you want to look at like, the thing that I've kind of learned more recently with drifting is like, there's more to it than just being able to drive. Like, there's the crew and the structure, you know, like to make sure the car's always in the right condition and make sure the car's set up. You know, there's so much to making a car competitive and reliable and being at every event that I never really understood. That's why I burnt myself out, man, because you're just like...
doing everything. You're the pit crew. You're trying to make sure the car's set up for the track.
Yeah, but even...
making sure it's reliable.
Yeah, and at that time, you don't understand how to do all that, I guess. But that team has it sorted, man. Like, Veersma can obviously drive. Like, it's one of the few people or teams, I guess, that I watch, and I'm genuinely impressed with every part of the program, you know? Like, it's... the car's always exactly how it needs to be.
Tip top.
And Luke compliments the car with how good he can drive. Like, a lot of people have one or the other. They have a fucking sick car. And like, a lot of the time I watch someone with a sick car and be like, that car can do so much more. Or, you know, they need to change a little bit here because it's like, it's too much and they're not driving it enough for that. Or, you know, they've set it up aggressive and they can't drive that aggressive or something. But like, every time you watch them, it's everything's on point, man. And it's like, even when they need to dial it back a bit, you know, to save something, or, you know, something's not quite right with the car, they execute it perfectly, you know. I think it's just the experience in motorsport.
It's also hard, like, trying to find people that will help. Like, if you're out there driving all day, the last thing you want to be doing is jumping out of the car and then changing your tires when you're fucking, like, you're running on adrenaline and you're like, hold up, I need to take a breath, but you can't because round's coming up soon, I need to get more practice or whatever it is, I need to change tires, I need to fix this. If you don't have people that are around to support you, it will be hard because you'll just be fucking pinging all day. Like,
and it is, and you don't, a lot of the times you don't realize how drained you are until you finish, pack up and you're driving home or whatever. But like, like
when I've hired the truck out and it's just been me and the road, and like, we've been out there for a couple of hours, like, you forget to drink water, you forget to eat, and then all of a sudden you're driving home and you're like, holy fuck, like, if I need to stay awake, like, if I've got a car and a trailer behind me, like, and you just haven't eaten and you're fucking starving, it takes it out of your hardcore, man. So you need like a good crew. So, like, honestly, props to everyone that enters and they do the full day. Like, it's a massive day. It costs a lot of money.
You don't really realize it until, like I said before, man, when you're young and optimistic, you don't think much more other than, have I got everything and go, you know? Like, it's like, but...
I've got tires in the car, let's fucking rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll figure out how to get home later, you know? Like, it's not a...
You don't look at the bigger picture until you've done it for a couple of years.
In some ways, it's more fun like that, but it's like, now
ignorance is bliss, eh?
Yeah. But it's a massive effort, man. And even, like, I guess when you've got more things to worry about as well, it's like more responsibilities and stuff like that. It's like, it does matter if I'm in the shed until 12 every night and eat noodles for 2 weeks to make an event. Like, you can't do that shit anymore. It's like,
if I don't get a good night's sleep, man, like, my work suffers. And if work, you know,
and then,
I've got a real short fuse. So if I didn't get enough sleep and someone fucking looks at me wrong, I'll bite your head off. And if I bite the wrong person's head off, like, that could be my job. So it's like, I can't stay up till 12 o'clock at night working on my car. Like,
you got to be selfish to achieve some of those things, you know? And that's another thing I fucking can't find the balance of. It's like, I feel like I'm not doing enough for that reason or for the opposite. So it's very hard to be like, I'm doing enough of both, because you just can't. Like, it's...
That's like me with, like, editing photos. It's like, all I want to do is sit down and edit photos. But then by the time I've done everything that I need to do for the night, it's 8 o'clock at night. So I'm like, I have legit, like, I've got to be in bed by 9 because I'm up at 5. It's like, I need to be selfish and fucking stay up and edit these photos, but I can't. I need to wind down and rest. So it's like, you just have to put all this shit aside. And
that's not even taking into account, like, family time. Like, whenever I'm busy, and to be honest, lately it's just been all work, like, but I can't afford not to work because then I don't pay the bills. So it's like, I feel bad for working because I'm not spending time with my daughter and my family.
Either way, you're a man, you're a piece of shit, bro.
Yeah. But,
simple as that. You're a man, you're a piece of shit. But you're never doing enough, bro.
If you're spending time with the family, then you feel bad for not earning the money that you need to earn, you know? It's like, there's no fucking win, is there?
It's like, if I take a Saturday off, it's like, I know for the next 2 weeks or month, I'll probably be stressing about money.
Yeah.
So then it's like, fuck, I have to sacrifice family time and work. But
then you're at
I'm
work
a piece
worrying
of
about
shit.
not being at home.
Yeah, I'm a piece of shit for working so much. It's like either way, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a piece of shit for not making enough money. I'm a piece of shit. Like that's just how I feel. I'm not
Lesser
actually a
of
piece.
two evils, I think.
Yeah,
is the saying.
it's either way, it sucks. Like you work 6 days a week. You're not spending enough time with your family. You're spending more time with your family. You're not making enough money. It's like it's fucking hard, man.
I don't think. Well, I can't see how it's possible to do that unless you're like sharing a house. You know, like it's like
I think that's where the Western world gets it so wrong. Like,
I
as a family, we all branch out and buy our own houses.
Yeah,
but then you look at some cultures and it's like they all pool their money together and
they'll
buy a house and they live a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all living together. But I mean, you learn to live together.
They all help each other. Like I was talking to a guy at my old work about this and I'd never really, you know, like looked into it, I guess, or...
You think about it, like we're all paying separate mortgages.
Yeah,
but what if it was one
stupid.
mortgage, but it was, okay, a bit more expensive, but... If we all pool the money together,
but the way
we'd have a fuckload more money.
Well, that's the way they do it, and that's the only way to beat the interest, really. Like once, obviously, it takes a while to learn all this shit. I didn't know when I bought a house, but like accumulative interest and all that stuff, like the only way to beat it is to have more money. But
how do you get more money?
Yeah, but the way they do it, man, they have. The way this guy did it with his family, and I think like I'm not very good with the religion and all that stuff, but I know he was Muslim and this is how his family did it. So I'm not sure if that's how everyone does it or just from his part of the world. But yeah, the whole family would live together and then say that, you know, the oldest boy or girl or whatever it is ready to move out. They all kind of pay that mortgage or like, say it's like a 5-year plan or whatever, you know, every single family member is like, say $200 a week or whatever into that house or before he buys it. And that means instead of borrowing $500,000 with a $30,000 deposit, he's paying, you know, what's that? $470,000 in interest that he has to pay.
Yeah. Instead
of that, he's got to borrow $50,000 or whatever. And because they've all chipped in and they're not paying interest on any of that. So like, and that $50,000 takes 5 years to pay off. Once that's
Instead
done,
of fucking 30
they return the
years
favor
at
to the
6%.
next. Yeah, they return the favor to the next oldest, you know. And it's like, man, that makes so much more sense than what we do. Like,
oh man, and I'm actually scared for kids born in the 2000s to buy a house.
The only way they're going to be able to do it is if they buy it. Like,
pull together.
I overthink a lot
Yeah.
about fucking everything, and sometimes it's not the best. But I'm like, I have dumb ideas that, like in my house. I'm like, should I knock knock a hole in my ensuite into the next bedroom? So in 10 years, it's a better house to buy for a share house. You know what I mean? Because I think that's the only fucking way people are going to be able to afford it is like,
a share house,
is if they buy a share house and like, if I make it accessible from both sides, that's like 2 master rooms instead of 1, you know? And it's like dumb shit like that. But I just can't see how it's going to work because it's
honestly, I have no
modest
idea.
house, man. And it's still like to buy a normal house is bullshit.
like this house, for example, like this is just a modest house. Like it's not big, it's not small. It's just like a nice family house, right?
Yeah.
And I guess for me, I reckon I bought it at the right time. Like it was around $460,000. Like, and that's for 2-income household, like that's sort of attainable.
Yeah,
back in the day,
not overreaching. That's
that's a decent first house.
Yeah.
But now there's a house across the road, like legit just across the road from me, that I just seen it go up for sale today, and then I was like, Shauna, fucking go on real estate and see how much it is. It's basically an older, shittier house than this, and they want offers from $770,000, and I was like, if you are a young family or just an average
and the interest
2-income,
higher.
6%.
Yeah.
Just an average couple, you know, you're making around 110 collectively. How the fuck are you going to save a 20% deposit so you're not paying a lender's mortgage insurance?
Yeah.
How the fuck are these young families
and even if you
honestly
get that
going to afford
deposit,
it?
Man, then like,
what are you going to put in the house?
Yeah,
How are you
like
going to repay the bills, man?
I'm in the same pretty
It's
similar
fucking
situation
scary,
as
bro.
you. My house was like $450, I think. And even that is a struggle to pay for on, like I'm FIFO and a lot of people probably wouldn't earn, like
most people, like, you think
earn-
about it, they're making like around roughly $25 an hour.
Yeah, like I earn good money. A lot of people would say I earn pretty good money, and it's still just affordable
yeah.
to pay 450 grand mortgage. Like, imagine trying to buy that same house now for, like, we got a valuation on, you know, just how other houses in the area, and they were saying like 700-800, same
That's
thing.
insane, man.
And like, imagine trying to do that on my wage that's probably higher than average, and put that percentage on top of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking ridiculous.
Like, when we first bought the house, the interest rate was like, what, 2%?
Yeah, mine was 2.29.
my monthly repayment was roughly $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
Now, people are paying $650 a week in rent.
Yeah.
In rent. I'm like, man, I'm paying less than half of that, and this is my own house. Let's pause. Danny needs to piss, and so do I. I had to tell someone, man. That shit was funny as fuck.
That sounds like a good day.
Yeah. We're back.
We're back.
Are we back?
Yes.
Yeah. So piss break
Number
round 2. We were talking about why is shit so goddamn expensive.
I feel like it is, now that I look back on it, I feel like I don't want to be that boring old guy talking about this stuff now.
Too late. You already are.
I love
already
the
on record.
memes. I love the memes where it's like, oh fuck, man, I shouldn't have fucked around and been a sperm in my dad's ball sack. I should have bought a house. Like, I don't know how the younger generation's gonna actually like afford.
Yeah,
anything,
I feel like it's
unless
going
there's a
more
recession.
towards like the generational wealth or dirt poor. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking
Yeah,
hard to.
the divide is.
I feel like we're even like our generation to come from nothing and even earn enough to live like a comfortable life was like just achievable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how they're going to do it when it gets worse.
Oh yeah, bro. I don't know. I just don't think people that are born in like the 2000s and younger now, I don't think they're just going to be homeowners. I think they're going to be renting or like
Unless they're
share
like-
houses and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
if their family already has houses and they can help them and stuff, maybe. But
yeah, different story. Like, but yeah, fuck, I don't know, man. Like, Trev, man, I don't know where the fuck you're going to buy a house. Like, you're either going to have to live like an hour and a half away where it's cheap as fuck. Like,
Yeah.
I
I'm in that process at the moment of like trying to figure out what I want to do and that sort of stuff. And yeah, we'll
I
find
think
out.
you're just going to have to start taking photos of your butthole and putting them online, bro. That seems...
That's not going to cut it. I can guarantee you. I'll somehow lose money by doing that. People will fucking hack me. I'm like, get this shit off the internet.
fine you.
I think that's the only thing to do nowadays. Like, if you got no talent, you just sell your butthole on the internet.
That's probably one thing that we're not taking into consideration is like the new generation will have all these ideas that we can't even think about, and there'll be like just new ways to make money, and we're like
3D print money.
Yeah.
Used to have to go to work.
Yeah.
and they'll be like, fuck off, idiot.
I know, right?
You hear all like, with new technologies taking over jobs, people get upset because, oh, they're fucking taking jobs away. But yeah, they took our idea. But new jobs get created.
Yeah.
So it's like that cycle, you know?
Yeah, it sucks for the people that like,
Are in that job that get sacked.
Yeah,
but
but, like,
I mean,
yeah, in a way, it's like, it's getting, we've got autonomous road trains at work, which is not going as smoothly as anyone thought, which everyone could see
Who would have
coming.
thunk it?
Yeah. But like, that's a good example. Like, if the truck drivers lose their job, yeah, it sucks, but it's got to change at some point, and that
There'll be new
creates-
jobs
Yeah, that
to-
creates like bloody technical,
advisors and
mechanics
shit, blah, blah,
to handle that truck now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They took our idea.
Society's always been like that, though. It's you either...
People don't like change.
Yeah, they don't like change,
Oh,
but you've
no.
got to upskill yourself to keep up with what's happening, or you get left behind. I mean,
Yeah.
like, our generation's probably a pretty good example of that because we had, the internet come up. We grew up on computers and stuff, and we've seen it develop from like a fucking thing that barely ran Snake properly, a Minesweeper,
Yeah.
to it having fucking smartphones. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then
Like,
go on,
growing up, I had to, if I wanted to see some titties, I had to buy a magazine.
I know.
Now,
Just go
I
to fucking
legit just
TikTok.
Googled titties. Bro, Instagram. Instagram is just fucking porn, bro.
I never thought.
I'm not complaining, but shit.
I never thought I'd complain, but I was like, there's this one page that I had, and it's like got a car name in it. So I thought it was like like I seen like a girl doing a pose or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
No, I'll
like,
follow that.
Yeah, cool.
Titties.
I love cars, but it's like I thought it was like a car magazine, you know, like every now and then there's a bikini shoot, but it's mostly cars, and I just kept opening my phone, and it was just the most inappropriate image on my screen, and I'm like, not that I'm complaining, but I'm like, I just look like a fucking. If anyone happens to look at my screen when I open Instagram, it's like I'm not watching porn at work or like fucking at a hell inappropriate place. I'm like, I'm just gonna unfollow this fucking page, because it's like it got. I don't know. I just felt like every time I opened my phone and someone was standing behind me, I felt like a creep. Even though it's just like me checking Instagram. It's like fuck, I'm not that guy.
And we're like what? We're trying to fucking filter all this shit out. Imagine if you're a kid coming up and then you've got open access to the internet. How
so much, yeah.
You're going to be fucked, man.
Like, I just opened my search bar on Instagram and you've got
Porn,
1, 2,
tits.
3, 4, 5,
titties.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 suggested videos, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them are just titties in my face right now. Like, Instagram has just turned into a fucking gateway to OnlyFans.
It's a gateway drug.
It's a gateway drug. Drugs are bad, okay.
But that's, I don't know. Maybe
I don't know, man.
Maybe we're just the old guys that were winning.
Millennials, bro. We're those old people now.
We
bro.
are, and all the new kids, like, it's just.
I don't understand what the fuck haps to that, bro. Haps to that. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean, man?
Oh, we can't. I don't even know that was a
Have
thing.
you tried talking to like 17-year-olds, bro? Like 18-year-olds that.
Not really, yeah. Like,
It hurts my brain, man.
Yeah.
Like actual, because we
No,
get all
we're
the
those guys.
Yeah, I know. We get like all the like apprentices come in, you know.
Oh yeah.
And they're all 18, 17, and they all talk with a lingo, and I'm just like, I just want to punch you in the head, man. Just shut the just speak normal.
I just remember when we were that age and we're like fucking stupid old cunts. Doesn't speak, yeah.
That's us now, man.
And we're like, you don't need that fucking electric car shit. We're just the guys that were back then like, you don't need fuel injection.
Yeah. But all they do is just scroll through fucking car sales and, check this sick car out, man. I'm like, just go out and buy a car.
Yeah, at least like, I feel like we were the generation to learn enough of that stuff to understand it now. But with our parents, they were still telling us like, you know, work your fucking ass off and earn your money. Like, I feel like at least we tried to do that. You know, a lot of people didn't do very well at it, but like, at least we knew that was a good thing to do, you know? Whereas nowadays, I don't know, it's like...
They don't want to work, bro. Like,
I feel like it's their right to not have to work, I think, hey?
Yeah, because I see so many kids come in and like, they just don't want to show effort or any initiative. Like, they just go, they're like, this is my job. I'm not going out of that description. If you want me to do something else, no.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, it was like, all right, I'm a work experience kid.
Or you might not get the job, eh? It's
legit. It was like the only reason why I had people going, hey, I want you to work here is because I was there to learn. Plus, I put in the effort. Like, no one told me to pick up a broom and sweep, but I fucking did it anyway because it was the right thing to do.
Man, I reckon...
Kids nowadays, they don't even do their fucking first year duties, bro. I'm a fucking qualified tech, and I'm emptying my own fucking oil drainers and shit and doing my own bins.
How dare they?
Bro, it's unreal, bro. You want to pay me all this money to do a first year shit? No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the way you got to look at it. It's like, well, it's an easy job and I'm getting paid the same. But yeah, it does get frustrating.
But you know what I mean? It's like,
it's like
when I was a first year, if I didn't do that shit, I got fucking reamed, bro.
And it's not even that. It's like I did myself in when I was an apprentice. Like I used to overthink that shit. Like I used to like try and do so much that I wouldn't like finish anything and just like wig myself out. And I'm like, man, if I just had to calm down and not fucking given a fuck a little bit more, I would have done so much better because I'm like
overthinking.
Yeah. But like, I didn't realize until I was a tradesman and like, you kind of figure out your own, you know, you just, I figured out that if I had given less fucks, I would have done better.
Sometimes less is more, eh?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. But I mean, I feel like...
can't say I didn't try.
A lot of kids nowadays, it's like, it's just too much less.
Yeah, but they like don't even like...
Oh, that's not my job. That's not my job anymore. That's not my job. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a fucking apprentice. Doesn't matter. You're a first or second year. You fucking help.
Yeah, it's hell hard to find someone that... The effort is the thing. It's like, it's not whether you're good at it or whether you're doing it properly or whatever. It's like, if you're putting in enough effort, you're teachable. You know what I mean? It's like, but you got to put in the effort to learn and you got to understand what they're telling you and you got to do the work to understand what they're telling you. You know?
You
it's
have to
like-
give enough fucks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But there's steps to it, you
Fine
know,
line.
like it's like, why would I bother teaching you or like putting
Exactly.
myself out there to
If you tell someone
give you effort
4
when,
times to empty the bin
and they don't
still
empty the bin.
do it, there's no point saying
yeah,
it
and it's like,
you know?
don't come up to me and ask me for fucking help on your car
Yeah.
when you can't even put the effort in to fucking do your job.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Fuck off.
You help me, I help you. That's how it is. And like, if you can't like do the things that I've learned how to do during my apprenticeship, do whatever you can until you can learn it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like I used to hate because some tradesmen had like a power trip, you know, like it's like they've been bullied at school and now it's their turn, you know? And I used to always, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like I always used to butt heads with those people because I'm like, fuck you, man. Like I'm not doing this because you told me to do it. Like I'm doing it because I am expected, you know, it's like, it's
You're
my job.
expected to do it. You're expected.
I'm doing it because it's my job, but I'm happy to do it and go out of my way and do anything I can. But if you're going to sort of like expect me to do the shit work for no other reason than
Fuck you, you're an apprentice.
yeah, then I'll like retaliate, you know. But
like if an apprentice at my job actually puts the effort in, I'm more than happy to fucking take time
Exactly,
and be like,
yeah.
hey bro, come here, I will show you what this is. And like I'll teach you because you're putting the effort in.
Yeah.
But if I see no effort from your end,
You're not
why
gonna-
should I? Yeah, you won't get any effort from me.
yeah, because you can. I guess it's another thing you learn getting older, man. It's like
I can't be fuck wasting my time, bro.
Yeah, I've had people like that and tried to give them every minute of the day. Like I've had people and I felt sorry for them because they're like, I couldn't, like in some respects, I thought no one gave them enough time for them to understand what to do. So they're standing around not doing anything because that, you know, and I'm like, oh, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and help them out. But like,
But then when you see them on their phone all day, every day, and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
bro, why should anyone teach
yeah,
you?
and it's the effort, man. It's like if they're not prepared to do it, then that's their own fault. You can't help people that don't want to be helped. But like, you know, someone that wants to help, even if they're shit at it, if they've never done it, if they want to help and put in the effort, you can always teach that person because they're invested enough to take that on board and try and improve, you know. But
100%.
like if they can't be fucked, then there's no point. You're just wasting your time, you know.
And that's with like every job, man. Like,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess we are getting old and we look down on the generation. We go, you're all fucking
But that's
lazy.
the thing. It's not like, well, I don't share that opinion, but I haven't been in the situation where I've been able to like work with a lot of the younger kids, you know. But like, yeah, if I got a young guy that is prepared to put in the effort, I'm happy to give him it's not like we're saying, you know, fuck them all, they're all shit. Like it's just
good and bad apples.
yeah,
But like
yeah.
when I'm seeing work experience kids that don't even have the job yet go, I can't wait to get qualified and get the fuck out of this place. I'm like, bro, you're not even an apprentice yet.
Don't
You-
take the job then.
Yeah, it's like, bro, you're a work experience kid. Like you have to prove yourself to get the job here. Like, don't
Yeah.
assume you've got the job and you already want to get out of here. I'm like, 3.5 years is a long road, bro. Like,
yeah.
the fuck are you doing, man? Like,
I
that's
remember when I
a
was an
bad
apprentice, man,
attitude
like, I
before you
never-
even started.
I felt like it was, I don't know, want to say like rude of me or anything, but like, I never used to tell anyone how I felt because I thought I should be thankful for the opportunity to have the job, man.
Yeah.
So I would never want to say, oh, I'm having a shit day or I'm fucking sick of this. I'd just say, yep, good. Like no matter what, because
Yes, boss.
because I thought like, I don't know, in my head, and this is what I'm talking about, I was probably overthinking it, you know what I mean? And I probably would have helped if I had said, oh yeah, having a shit day or whatever. Like, but in my head, I'm like, it's a privilege to even have this job, you know what I mean? And I know that it sounds dumb, but it's like the kids are well, not the kids, but you meet someone that doesn't give a fuck about their job and they expect to just rock up and get paid no matter what they do. And it's like, you haven't earned that, man. It's like, you need to put in the effort to
To get to that point.
and, yeah, like,
You need to get to the effort to hate your job.
yeah, but even though, yeah, fair enough if you hate your job, but you still put in the effort to do it every day, you know? And it's like, you're not just going to fucking, you can't have a job if you're just going to go there and not do anything. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's a lot of people at my work that would disagree.
Yeah, I mean,
But I think that's FIFO in general. That's
yeah, the mentality is never give the company 100% of your efforts.
yeah, and
It's always
weird.
like max 90.
Yeah, and it's weird because like a lot of the times people will go to more effort to make it look like they're doing something than it would take
Then just to do the job.
Yeah.
It's like, how can I bludge?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know?
They've put in like this massive fucking scheme. So like set up these booby traps and like activation things so it looks like they're working. I'm like, bro, just do the job, eh? Like, what's fuck that?
Yeah.
They'll get like a spanner and like slip it off the nut so it looks like they're tightening it up. I'm like, what? Just tighten the cunt. Like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
But I do think like, well, mining in general, man, it's gotten to the point now where there's like so many things that don't make sense that like I genuinely...
Nothing makes sense with mining companies.
Man, I genuinely have to
processes.
turn my brain off because if I think I get so frustrated, I'm like...
Waiting for permits?
Nah, man. There's like... Well, I don't know if it's just my side.
Because I worked in oil and gas. So like,
Yeah.
you get to the job, you do your fucking... Your morning meeting. So
Yeah.
you've started work. And then you get to the site to like where you got to go. And then something's wrong on the permit. And then you're waiting for an hour and a half for this
that's a
permit to
common-
get sorted. And then you're just like, bro, I'm getting paid by the hour right now.
Yeah, but like it's the same at every mine site I've been to because I've done construction now. I'm in a workshop, but it's like workshop is a bit more lenient, I would say, like, or a bit more. You just know the people around you better, and you know what you can get away with, I guess. But it's like we had an incident the other day, not a bad one, but like we're getting all these brand new prime movers with all the autonomous shit, and one of them fucking just bumped the trailer as it was coming off, and
that's a near miss, brother.
no, it's asset damage, and it was a fucking huge deal over an $80 bracket, even though like
It's just an $80 bracket.
bro, we've been like looking through the bins before, and there's like, I don't know, 10 sets of brand new brakes that are probably like
thousands of dollars.
yeah, and no one gives a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
but this one $80 bracket got, and it literally bolt-on bracket, like not a big deal at all, but because it was a new truck and blah, 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 like massive thing. So they went all through the paperwork. Oh, you guys got to start doing everything properly because these guys didn't have the right fucking
JSAs.
letters on there. Yeah. But when we actually took the time to go through it, because everyone was just going, yeah, you know, that, fuck, I don't know, brake boots to change, sign the SWI, go do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you read through it. Yeah, that's about right. Sign it, you know? But because all this happened, these two lost their bonus. They were spotting the truck. They weren't even driving it. But long story short, they were like, you got to make sure, you know, everything's accurate. And like, we're like, yeah, no worries. So we went through it all and fucking started doing it as good as we can. And we're realizing none of this shit can actually work. It all contradicts itself. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
And then
it's all paperwork
Yeah.
for fucking insurance companies, bro.
Yeah.
It covers their ass.
yeah, it's all grey areas. So no matter what happens, they can all find a way to pin it on you, not the company.
100%,
But like
bro.
the safety rep was coming over because we were all like, the whole fucking workshop was like, fuck this shit. Like, but the safety rep come over and like, I was pretty heated at this point because we'd been trying to do this for 6 hours just for a JHA, and everyone that would come over would tell us, oh, you can't do it like that. And I'm like, tell us how the fuck to do it and I'll do it. But like, but at the same time, they're treating us like we don't know how to do a JHA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's not us. It's like, and anyway, this guy was like, pretty much, oh, you can't have this and you can't have that. And I'm like, are you approved?
Tell me what I can and can't
I copied
fucking
this
have on
out
that.
of the approved SWI. Like, what's the problem, you know? And then, oh, it's an opinion. And I'm like, well, whose fucking opinion? Like, tell me,
Someone
man,
who
because-
sits behind a desk,
Yeah.
Trevor,
But the thing is, man,
and goes, oh, this is the way to do it. It's
Yeah,
like
but-
you've never worked on a fucking site in your life,
that
bro.
would be fine as long as you could follow that procedure. But these ones at work, man, they're all contradicting themselves.
they're all
and if you
gibberish.
follow one, you're breaking another.
Yeah.
And it's like, you tell us what the fuck you want us to do and we'll do it. But then they treat it like we're too dumb to understand how to write a JHA. And I'm like, that's not the fucking problem. Like,
Yeah, you don't sit behind a desk,
Yeah.
bro. You don't understand. You're not an engineer.
we had a guy fly in to give us a fucking course on doing a JHA.
Oh, wow.
And he was
Wow.
like, we came in and he was pretty much, I can't remember the words he used, but he was pretty much like, you guys seem to be having trouble with not knowing how to write a JHA. And I was like, this will be interesting. And then I was like, made it my mission just to fucking pull him up on everything that didn't make sense. And there was so many times he couldn't answer my questions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, not fucking easy, is it? Like, you know what I mean? You guys in the office probably banging off about how dumb we are because someone wrote the wrong way to do it or signed the wrong SWI. And I'm like, realistically, you should be coming up with the procedures and we should be following them. It's not the other way around,
Yeah.
you fucking idiots. Like, And there were so many times where he couldn't answer my questions, and then it just made him look stupid, you know?
Yeah.
But not that was my goal, but he was trying to drill us, and he like, because I was piping up, he was like, you know, trying to drill me down, and I was just like bang, 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 and he just had nothing. And I'm like, see, it's not like all you guys think it's just us dumb mechanics, you know? Like,
yeah, fucking grease monkeys, bro.
and they can't even tell us what the right way is. Like, anyway,
yeah, oil and
sorry for
gas,
that
like,
rant.
Nah,
It's fine.
get it off your chest, mate. Yeah, oil and gas, like everything was really strict. Like
Yeah.
there was procedures like for everything, and the procedure like legit had to be followed. And if you didn't, you're gone. Like,
Yeah.
like, and that was the good thing about oil and gas. But
But at least everyone follows it. Like,
you have to follow it, otherwise you're
Yeah,
fucked. Like
yeah.
there was like you're not allowed to work on this until this is tagged out.
Yeah.
This can't be tagged out until this gas test has been done.
Yeah.
This gas test can't be done until this is done.
but when it's like
These
that,
people
it's
can't
good
come into
because
this is done.
everyone,
Everyone's on the same page.
yeah,
sort
and
of deal.
everyone like
It just
everyone
shit took
understand what
so
has to
long.
happen. Yeah, and
It's
that's
just
frustrating. But like because of our workshop, and we get no fucking budget. Like the other frustrating thing is like we've got that much shit that doesn't work properly, or we need that much shit to do our job, and then like technically we have to cut corners to do it because we don't have the right shit.
Yeah, and they don't want to spend the money to get the right shit.
Taking our bonus off us for doing that.
Yeah.
But then we're like, okay, buy the shit then, and they're like,
Can't afford it. It's not in the
and it's like,
budget.
okay,
Well, what
which
do you
one
mean?
do
You
you
want us to do
now?
our job
Yeah.
or what?
Either buy us the shit and we'll follow it to the T, or you know, look the other way while we have to use a jack that we shouldn't use or some shit. Like you can't have both.
I mean, I could go on like a massive rant about workshop equipment.
Yeah,
at
let's
my
not
work,
whinge about work. We've
But
already
I mean,
whinged that.
I don't want to because
Yeah,
I mean, I want to keep my job.
Mm.
I don't know if I've said where I work. I think I have, so I don't
You
want
have.
to.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
don't want to fucking throw them under the bus because everything there is like 45 years old and doesn't work. So,
but that's most workshops, and that's fine as long
but
as.
for a multi-million-dollar company,
I know,
it's like
it's frustrating.
come on. I'm gonna say one thing because I did say to the big boss, like my hoist was like this old screw hoist that didn't work, and I fucking told him for like 6 months. I said, hey, the motor has stopped working. It doesn't lift up 200 series anymore. The hoist is rated for 3.6 or 3.8 ton. A 200 series doesn't weigh that
2.8 or
much.
something,
Yeah, so it should be able to do it, but it can't. It fucking the brushes wear out and it gets like halfway then stops.
Yeah.
So one day, like all the boys were around, I was trying to lift the hoist up, and they were like pushing the car up as a joke, and the big boss seen it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, they were like, "Yep, cool. We'll put a new hoist in." I was like, "Cool." So then I got moved out of that workshop for fucking 8 weeks because the concrete's only 75 mil.
yeah.
So then they had to dig the concrete up, pour a new slab, and I was just like, all they had to do was buy another second-hand hoist, the exact same one, because
Or
there's
even a
fuckloads.
fucking 4-post with a scissor lift, or like.
Nah, it wouldn't fit in. Wouldn't fit in that workshop. So like they had to. I was like, man, I went on Marketplace, found the exact same hoist. I was like, why don't you just swap the motors?
Yeah.
I was like, you're building a brand new $30 million workshop across the road. We just need this to get by.
Yeah.
No, so they ripped up the concrete. They put this hoist in, right? And I was like, I was expecting, okay, multi-million-dollar company. They'll buy something decent, a rotary lift or a bend pack. They bought this fucking shitty, cheap Chinese hoist. I have a better hoist at home than what this hoist they bought. And I was just like, man, multi-million-dollar company, and they're buying these fucking cheap, shitty hoists. I was like, these things barely meet Australian standards, but because they meet Australian standards, like they put it in, and it's like, come on, guys, like
We have the same
the tools. Invest in good tools. Like what? In a couple of years, you're gonna have to fucking fix this thing.
It's because like at our site, like the storeman is the guy that buys the things, you know, and he's like, with all
The
due
less money
respect-
they spend, the more bonus he gets.
Well,
Is
I don't
that
know
how
if-
it works?
I don't
That's
know
how
if
it
it's
works.
like a bonus system, but like with all due respect, he just hasn't worked on enough things to see the value in the good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And he thinks,
A
this
poor
rattle
man always
gun-
pays twice.
Yeah, this rattle gun does the same thing as that rattle gun, but it's a third of the price. And it's like,
Why is it a
like
third
this-
of the price?
Yeah, this jack. Like we got these jacks. They're like a high, long story, but we got this jack that was like fucking a third of the price of the good one, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, we could buy 3 of them. We'll buy 2 because this one's going to fucking shit itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get one, we used it once and then it's fucked and then we're fucking around with it for a week trying
to
get
fix it.
Yeah. And then like they don't understand the difference. You know what I mean? I was like, it's twice the price. I get it. It's more expensive, but that'll go for 10 years without needing a thing, you know? And it's like
100%.
this shit one, like what's fucking 4 people's wages for a week on a mine site? Like that would have paid for 10 jacks, cunt. You know what I mean? It's like, but there's all these different sectors and no one talks, you know what I mean? Everyone's covering their own ass, so no one actually understands what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I try and bring it up. Like, I'm not trying to shit on my work because I enjoy working there. It's just, but they just think at the end that they make so many decisions without actually like informing us and getting our opinion. It's like, we're the ones on the tools. We're the ones there doing the work. Like, let us fucking have our 2 cents and be like, don't like invest in good quality shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and again,
take
it's
our
like,
opinions actually validate our opinions because we're the ones doing the work.
Yeah. And for all you know, you might say, oh man, I've used one of these at my mate's shop and he's had it for 10 years and it's good and it's a cheap one. Like, yeah, 100%. But it's like, I don't know. They just, it's like a communication error. Hey, you don't, and you can't explain it to someone that doesn't understand your job as well. It's like, it makes it harder to do this. And they're like, what's this? And you're like, I can explain it to you, but you're just going to come back with like short-term answers that don't fully answer the problem.
There's a big
like,
picture.
Yeah.
I just...
Next topic, Trev, go.
Come on, Trevor. What
I
a
don't
beautiful
know, man.
pink jumper you're wearing.
Thanks.
Does it come in men's?
Tell us about your...
Sorry.
Actually, you guys might have covered it already. I was going to ask about the licensing thing, but you guys have probably covered that on another podcast, I'm assuming.
Not particularly. So
we
can go
did
into it.
touch on it. We didn't like...
Yeah, not really in depth. But so to get the Type R back on the road, it was actually a pretty simple process. I just had to swap out the hood, swap out the downpipe, get it retuned, took it to AME Automotive in Canning Vale just to get it inspected. I wasn't 100% sure it would pass because like I've just got a bonnet on it that's like not even painted and shit, but it does the job sort of thing. And that's pretty much it. Like everything else was fine. I thought like when I took it to KYP to get some of the stuff sorted, they were sort of like, you know, your tires is on the limit, your brake pads, all that sort of stuff. I'm sure they checked it when I took it to get inspected, and that was sort of it. I was just like, oh, cool, it passed. Half expecting it not to pass and have to like spend a shitload more money and do random shit. But got it the next day, took it to all the fucking paperwork and shit, and then just got it registered. And I've been driving it since, and it's been good. Well overdue.
It's pretty lucky that it's like a fairly new car. Like if it was an older piece of shit, I've noticed like with old Jap cars, they're a lot more strict. They definitely go hard, but because it's like a newer car with all the emissions and fucking safety stuff,
it's like it's just less wear and tear on it. Like with the older cars, it's always I didn't know those bushes.
They're all
or,
fucked,
you know, like
cracked, and you can't even find parts for them.
I had to. I didn't have to, but I handed the plates in for my GDR.
Oh no.
I mean, but let's be real. Like, how long until that thing's going to be on the road?
Well, that's the thing. It's been, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 years now, but I've paid rego every year,
which is
and I still
not
haven't.
cheap.
Yeah, I still haven't driven it, and I'm like, realistically, it's not a drift car that I'm just getting to the track and back. It's like if something needs to be done, I'm happy to do it. So if I take it over the pits and it needs bushes, yeah, cool, I'll put bushes in it. Like at the end of the day, I want to build it nice to a high standard anyway. So my plan was to get, you know, whatever I needed engineered and all that stuff and make it a good, you know, everything in a good condition anyway. So I think if there's something I don't think there will be anything I've missed, but if they pick something, I'm happy to do it. You know what I mean? It's probably going to be cheaper to do whatever they pick than pay rego until it's on the road. And even then, the other thing was like,
if you get picked up, you're like, hey, motherfucker, I've got all permits and engineering for everything. And I'll still stick you anyway.
Yeah, for 5 years and get it on the road. Chances are going past the cop, I get a fucking sticker on it anyway and have to take it over the pit. So it's like, you know what? I think the smart money is to hand the plates in and stop stressing about it and just do it when I can.
Yeah. Because the Evo, I was thinking about doing that with the Evo, but then I was like, fuck, it's a personalized import. And I was like, I don't know how they'd go because I can't find half the shit to get it back to stock anyway. And I didn't really want to get permits and shit like that. So I was like, fuck, I'll just keep paying rego.
Yeah. I understand.
And with the rust as well.
Torn, man, what to do. But to be honest, I forgot about it. I was like, I paid 3 months when it was in the grace and then I forgot to pay it again. And I was like, well, it's kind of my own fault. And I wasn't sure whether to do that or not. So I guess it kind of...
It made your mind up for you.
Mm.
What do you think, boys? Should we call it there? It's been
I think so.
Yeah.
Fucking 2.5, 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think, we'll call it there. That was a good chat.
Quick, eh?
It does. For
Yeah,
sure.
because you kept needing to fucking piss, mate.
It's like bowling.
Child's bladder or
Probably like
something.
1 hour worth of talking, eh? The rest of it's me pissing.
I think we'll call it there. You can do the outro, Trev, since I did the intro.
That's fair enough. I appreciate you coming down, Danny. It's good to have you back on. We hope you can get your car sorted soon and it's not too much stress. I mean, it's always the balancing, eh? You sort of alluded to that. So it'd be good to see you back out there as soon as you can. And yeah, keep tuning in, peeps. We appreciate it.
Cheers, homies.
Thanks for having
Cheers
me.
for coming out, brother.